What if I told you that one of the most powerful books of ancient wisdom was deliberately removed from the Bible? The Book of Enoch contains shocking revelations about fallen angels, celestial beings, and prophecies so controversial that religious authorities banned it for centuries. Yet, despite attempts to suppress it, this mysterious text has survived. And today, we're diving into its forbidden secrets. But before you settle in, if this kind of content helps you pass the time or learn something of value, consider dropping a like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Also, let us know where you're watching from and what time it is. So without further ado, let's begin, shall we? The book they tried to erase. In the dusty hills of Ethiopia, as the 18th century drew to a close, a moment of discovery was about to change our view of the past. A British explorer stood in the dim light of an ancient monastery. His hands trembled as a monk placed in them what looked like an old stack of papers. "This," the monk whispered, "has been kept safe for many lifetimes." The explorer couldn't know it then, but he was holding a book that had been hidden from the world for over 1,600 years. A text so powerful that church leaders once ordered every copy burned. A story so strange that many claimed it must never be read again. This was the Book of Enoch. For centuries, it was just a name, a ghost story whispered by scholars. They knew it had once existed. They knew it had shaped early belief. But the words themselves were lost, kept away from readers for reasons few could explain. Why would a book be feared so much? What secrets did it hold that needed to be kept from view? The answers lie in its pages. Tales of angels who left heaven to marry human women. Stories of giant offspring who brought ruin to the early world. Visions of cosmic wars, hidden realms, and strange beings who watch us from the stars. These weren't just stories. For many early believers, this was history, the truth about how our world fell from grace. Enoch tells us of the Watchers, fallen angels who taught humans the arts of war, makeup, and magic. It speaks of their punishment in chains of darkness. It offers maps of heaven's halls and describes God's fiery chariot. No wonder it scared those in power. This wasn't just a banned book. It was a different path, a road not taken. It showed a universe bigger, stranger, and more alive than many wanted to admit. Yet something odd happened. Despite being cut from sacred lists, parts of Enoch's story still echo in the books we know. His shadow falls across pages of the Bible. His angels appear in art and dreams. His warnings about heaven's justice still speak to us today. The story of the Book of Enoch is the tale of an idea that couldn't be killed, of words that waited in silence until the world was ready to hear them again. And now, after years in darkness, Enoch speaks once more. Not as a dusty relic, but as a living voice from the dawn of faith. A book that asks us to look up at the stars and wonder, what else don't we know about our own story? The book they tried to erase has returned, and nothing will look quite the same again. In what follows, we'll walk the path of Enoch. We'll meet the angels who fell from grace. We'll face the giants who once roamed the earth. We'll peek behind the veil that hides heaven's throne. And perhaps, like the British explorer in that dim monastery all those years ago, we'll find that some banned books contain not evil, but truths we weren't yet ready to face. So what exactly is this hidden text that slept in darkness for so long? The Book of Enoch isn't just one story, but a world of visions bound between worn covers. It's a window into beliefs once held dear by many who looked up at the same stars we see today. At its heart, the book claims to share the words of Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. In the Bible, he's known by just a few words. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. This brief hint that a man was taken to heaven without dying sparked fires of wonder in early minds. The text we now hold was likely written down around 300 to 100 years before Christ. Its oldest parts may echo tales passed down for ages before pen touched paper. Written mainly in Aramaic, it spread through Jewish circles during a time when many looked for signs of God's plan in a world ruled by foreign powers. What makes the Book of Enoch stand out is how it's built. Like a house with many rooms, it holds 5 main parts, each with its own mood and message. First comes the Book of the Watchers, the most known and quoted section. Here we learn of angels who left their posts in heaven, drawn by the beauty of human women. Their choice to cross this line brings doom not just to them, but to all life on earth. This part also takes us on a tour through heaven's halls, guided by angels who show Enoch the very throne of God. Next, the book of parables speaks of a coming judge, a son of man who will set right all wrongs at the end of days. Many who study these words see early signs of ideas that would later bloom in Christian thought. The astronomical book might seem dry at first, a detailed account of sun, moon, and stars in their paths. But look closer and you find a cosmic clock, a way to mark holy days and keep in step with heaven's own time. In the dream visions, Enoch shares strange dreams where human history plays out as a tale of animals, sheep and wolves, eagles and oxen, each standing for nations and leaders in our world. Last comes the Epistle of Enoch, a letter of wisdom meant to guide those who live in the last days before judgment falls. Through all these parts runs a single thread, the belief that our world isn't just what we see, that behind the veil of normal life, vast forces move in patterns set by God, that human choices echo in heaven, and heaven's will shapes earth in return. For the people who first shared these tales, the Book of Enoch wasn't fiction. It was hidden history, secret knowledge passed down from a man who had stood in God's own courts. It was a map to make sense of why the world holds both beauty and pain. What makes this text so vital is how it filled gaps in the stories many knew from youth. Where the Bible speaks in hints about fallen angels, Enoch gives names and deeds. Where prophets see God's throne from afar, Enoch claims to have stood before it. Where others warn of judgment, Enoch describes the very fires that will burn. This isn't just an old book found in a far land. It's a missing piece that changes the whole picture, a lost chapter from the dawn of faith that helps us see with fresh eyes what once was only shadow, banned, buried, and resurrected. How does a book once known throughout the ancient world simply fade away? The tale of Enoch's fall from grace is as strange as the stories in its pages. In the first days of faith, the Book of Enoch stood tall among sacred texts. Jewish scholars quoted it. Early church fathers praised it. The writer of the Book of Jude, found in the New Testament, even treats it as true prophecy, citing Enoch by name. Yet by the 4th century, a shift had begun. As church leaders worked to form one clear set of teachings, texts that didn't fit their view were pushed aside. Books that told wild tales of angels and other worlds raised hard questions about what to believe. Bishop Athanasius of Alexandria, in the year 367, wrote a list of books he claimed were the only true holy texts. The Book of Enoch was not among them. Other church councils followed his lead, and soon a line was drawn. Some books were in and others were out. But why was Enoch cast aside? Some say its vivid tales of fallen angels clashed with newer views of how sin came to be. Others point to its claims about the nature of God and heaven that didn't match what church leaders taught. A few suggest it was seen as too close to other banned texts that truly did spread false ideas. Whatever the cause, the effect was clear. Scribes stopped making new copies. Libraries let their old ones crumble. In time, the book that had once shaped how people saw the stars grew dim in memory. Yet not everyone forgot. In one corner of the world, far from the reach of those who banned such works, Enoch lived on. In the high hills of Ethiopia, where an ancient form of Christianity took root, the book was still read as holy truth. There, in a land of old faith and older mountains, Enoch's words were still copied by hand, page by page, century after century. Time passed, empires rose and fell, and the world forgot what it had lost. Then came a moment that would change the course of hidden history. In the late 1700s, a Scottish explorer named James Bruce made his way through Ethiopia in search of the source of the Nile River. While there, he found something just as precious: 3 copies of the lost Book of Enoch, still read and treasured by Ethiopian monks. Bruce brought one copy back to Europe. At first, few paid it much mind. It was written in Ge'ez, an ancient tongue few could read, but word spread slowly through halls of learning. This was not just some odd find. It was a book many had thought gone forever. In 1821, Richard Lawrence, a professor at Oxford, made the first full translation into English. Suddenly, after more than 1,000 years of silence, Enoch spoke again to the Western world. What followed was a slow but steady rise from the grave. More copies were found, better translations were made. Scholars began to see how much this old book had shaped the faith of those who came before. Then, in the mid-1900s, among the Dead Sea Scrolls, pieces of the oldest known copies of Enoch were found. Written in Aramaic, they proved that this wasn't just some late work, but truly an ancient text held dear by Jewish groups before the time of Christ. Now, in our own day, the Book of Enoch has found new life, not as scripture read from pulpits, but as a window into lost ways of seeing heaven and earth. Its angels and visions now fill films, books, and art. Its warnings of cosmic forces echo in how many still view the dance of good and evil in our world. The book they tried to erase has risen again, and those who read it now find not some strange cult text, but a missing chapter in the story of how humans have tried to make sense of the stars that shine above and the shadows that lurk within. Enoch the man, patriarch, prophet, myth. Before we walk through the strange pages of his book, we must first meet the man whose name it bears. Who was Enoch, and why was he seen as one who could tell such cosmic tales? In the book of Genesis, Enoch appears like a whisper, just a few lines in a list of names. He was the seventh in line from Adam, the father of Methuselah, who would live longer than any other human in the Bible. But what makes Enoch stand out are the words used to describe his end. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Unlike others in his family tree, Enoch never died. He simply left, taken by God while still alive. Like alive. This brief hint opened doors of wonder in the minds of those who came after. What did it mean to walk with God? Where was Enoch taken? And most of all, what did he see in that other realm? In time, Enoch grew from a name in a list to a figure of myth and power. Jewish writers in the centuries before Christ saw him as the first man to write down holy words. Some said he was the first to teach humans how to count and measure the stars. Others claimed he knew the secret names of God. The Book of Jubilees, another ancient text, tells us that angels taught Enoch the secrets of time, weather, and the paths of stars. It claims he was the first to write books of wisdom for all who would come after. In this view, Enoch wasn't just a good man. He was the first prophet, the first scribe, the first to map the heavens. This view of Enoch as keeper of cosmic secrets grew stronger with time. By the 1st century, many Jewish and early Christian writers saw him as a man who had stood in God's throne room and returned to tell about it. Some even said he had been changed into an angel himself, the mighty Metatron, scribe of heaven. In Christian circles, Enoch was often paired with Elijah, another man taken to heaven without dying. Some taught that both would return in the last days to face the forces of evil. Others saw Enoch as proof that humans could, through holy living, rise above their earthly nature. But Enoch's shadow falls beyond just Jewish and Christian lore. In Islamic tradition, he appears as Idris, a prophet known for his wisdom and patience. Muslim texts say he was the first to use the pen and to study the stars. Some tales tell of how he was raised to heaven after death to be brought back to life in God's presence. Even in places where the Book of Enoch was banned, the man himself lived on in art and story. Medieval mystery plays showed him rising to the stars. Renaissance painters placed him among the clouds. His name was given to sons in hope that they too might walk close to God. What binds all these views of Enoch is a single thread. He is the man who crossed the line between earth and heaven and lived to tell about it. He is the one who saw what others only guessed at. He is proof that the gap between human and divine could, in rare cases, be bridged. Perhaps this is why Enoch endures. In a world of firm lines between flesh and spirit, life and death, human and divine, Enoch stands as the exception, the man who went beyond, the eyes that saw what was not meant for human sight. And in his story, many find hope that they too might one day see beyond the veil, that death is not the only door to what lies beyond, that heaven might, in special cases, reach down and lift up those it chooses to walk its halls while still in flesh. As we turn now to the book that bears his name, we must remember this. Whatever hands may have written these words down through the years, they claim to share what Enoch saw. They ask us to look through the eyes of a man who, for reasons known only to God, was allowed to see the gears that turn our world, the fires that light the stars, and the throne at the center of it all, the fall of the Watchers. Now we step into the heart of the Book of Enoch, the tale of the Watchers. This story forms the core of what made this text both beloved and feared. It tells of a time when the line between heaven and earth grew thin, and beings of light made a choice that would cast shadows across all of time. The tale begins with beings called the Watchers, angels tasked with looking over the early world. 200 of these mighty spirits stood at their posts in the heavens, gazing down at the young earth and its people. Their task was to watch, to guard, to keep the ways of heaven and earth apart. But as they looked down at the growing tribes of humans, something stirred in these angels that had never been meant to wake. They saw the daughters of men and found them beautiful. Led by their captain, Semjaza, these watchers made a pact. They would leave their posts, they would take on flesh, they would go down to earth and take human women as wives. But such a choice came with fear, even for angels. Semjaza worried he would bear the blame alone if their plan brought God's wrath. "Let us all swear an oath," Semjaza said to his fellow angels. "Let us bind ourselves by a curse, not to abandon this plan, but to do this deed." And so, on the peak of Mount Hermon, 200 angels swore a dark oath to carry out their desires, no matter the cost. They came down to earth in the days of Jared, Enoch's father. Each chose a woman for himself. Each took her as wife. From these strange unions came children, but not human children. They were the nephilim, giants whose height and hunger knew no bounds. But the Watchers did more than father monster sons. They began to teach humans things that heaven had kept hidden. Azazel taught men how to make weapons of war, swords and knives, shields and breastplates. He showed them how to work metals and craft jewels. Semjaza taught spells and how to cut roots for magic. Armaros taught how to break spells. Barakajol gave knowledge of stars. Kokabel revealed the signs of heaven. Others taught the signs of earth, the course of the moon, and the way to paint eyes with colors. Each angel shared some secret knowledge, arts that humans were not yet meant to know. These gifts might seem good at first glance. What harm in knowing how to craft metal or track the moon? But the Book of Enoch shows these as seeds of ruin. The weapons led to bloodshed. The jewels fed pride. The magic turned hearts from trust in God to trust in spells. It was not just that the Watchers had crossed a line. They had brought with them fire from heaven that burnt all it touched. They had given power without wisdom, knowledge without love. Soon the world groaned under the weight of new sins. The giants, born of angels and women, ate all they could find, plants, animals, and then humans themselves. They drank blood and turned on each other in hunger. The arts taught by the Watchers were used for war, for greed, for pride. The first murder, Cain killing Abel, spreads now to war between tribes. The first lie grows to systems of deceit. The world slides toward chaos, all from one choice made by those who were meant to watch, not touch. In heaven, other angels saw what was happening. The archangels Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down at earth and heard the cries of those hurt by the Watchers' choice. They brought these cries before God, saying, "See what Azazel has done, how he has taught all manner of sin on the earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were made in heaven." This first part of Enoch's tale ends with heaven's gaze turning back to earth, not in love now, but in judgment. The Watchers had sown wind. Now they, and all the world with them, would reap the storm. In this ancient story echoes a warning still felt today, that some lines are not meant to be crossed, that heaven and earth, when mixed without God's blessing, bring not glory but ruin, that knowledge without love, power without wisdom, passion without bounds, these birth monsters, not joy. Yet in this dark tale also hides a strange comfort. Even when angels fall, God does not abandon earth. Even when the Watchers fail their task, new messengers are sent. The world may break, but it is never forgotten by the one who made it. The Nephilim, giants of old. The world was young when they walked the earth, massive beings, half human and half divine, casting long shadows across the ancient hills. The Nephilim, their story begins with a forbidden love, angels drawn to the beauty of human women. These weren't gentle giants from children's tales. The Book of Enoch tells us they stood 300 cubits tall. That's nearly 500 feet. While likely an echo of ancient storytelling, even scaled down, they would tower over any normal person. Think of looking up at a being 3 times your height, with strength to match. The name Nephilim itself comes from the Hebrew word meaning the fallen ones, or those who cause others to fall. And fall they did. These weren't heroes, they were monsters. Enoch's account is blunt. They began to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. A world of peaceful creatures suddenly faced predators unlike anything they'd known before. The hunger of the Nephilim knew no bounds. When animals and plants couldn't satisfy them, they turned on humans. Enoch describes how they devoured mankind and began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Their appetite wasn't just for food. These giants consumed resources at a frightening pace. Imagine entire forests cleared, rivers drained, herds of animals hunted to nothing, all to feed beings who were never full. This story isn't unique to Enoch. Genesis chapter 6 mentions them briefly. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. But where the Bible gives us a single verse, Enoch gives us the full dark tale. Stories of giants appear in cultures worldwide. Greek myths tell of the titans who fought against the gods. Norse legends speak of Jotnar, mountain-sized beings of great power. Native American tribes share tales of giant cannibals who hunted humans. Are these all memories of the same events? Ancient people trying to make sense of fossil findings, or something else entirely? The Nephilim left more than stories. Some point to massive ancient structures, stoneworks that seem beyond human ability to move. Others note giant-sized weapons and armor described in ancient texts. The Bible itself mentions the bed of Og, king of Bashan, made of iron and over 13 feet long. Their violence grew until it touched every corner of creation. Enoch tells us, and the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. The world groaned under their weight and their hunger. Heaven took notice. The cries of humanity reached the throne of God. The archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, looked down in horror at what earth had become. The giants represented more than physical threat. They were living proof of broken boundaries, divine beings mixing with humans, creating something that should never have been. In many ancient cultures, maintaining proper order was sacred. The Nephilim were chaos made flesh. Their story teaches us something powerful. Size and strength don't make one mighty in ways that matter. True might comes from goodness, from wisdom. The giants had power, but used it badly. They chose cruelty over kindness, and for that, judgment was coming. The legacy of the Nephilim lives on in our cultural memory. We still tell stories of giants, some friendly, most fearsome. Perhaps these tales echo our oldest fears, that something bigger and stronger might one day consume everything we love. When we look at Enoch's account, we see a warning about power without wisdom, hunger without restraint. The Nephilim were doomed not because they were giants, but because their hearts were small. The corruption of mankind. Before the Watchers came, humans lived simply. They planted seeds, tended animals, built shelters, and raised families. Life was hard but honest. The rhythms of nature guided their days. Then everything changed. The Book of Enoch explains how the fallen angels didn't just take wives, they became teachers. What they taught wasn't wisdom, it was knowledge humanity wasn't ready for. Azazel taught men to make weapons of war, swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. Before this, conflicts were simpler. Now death could come swiftly, from a distance, with cruel purpose. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Shemihaza taught spellbinding and root-cutting, early witchcraft. Armoros taught how to break spells. Barakijal taught astrology. Kokabel revealed the signs of the stars. Ezekiel taught knowledge of clouds and weather patterns. Arakiel showed signs of the earth. Shamshiel taught the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. Each piece of knowledge shifted humanity further from innocence. Women learned to adorn themselves with precious metals and stones, to paint their faces and change their appearance. Enoch describes how they adorned themselves as beautiful bracelets and chains and rings and colorings of eyes and the fairest of stones and all kinds of dyes. This wasn't simple vanity. It was a fundamental shift in human focus, from the inner life to outer show, from substance to surface. Before long, humans began to mimic the violence of their giant neighbors. They turned new weapons against animals, then against each other. Blood watered the ground. Families fought families. Tribes attacked tribes. The knowledge brought by the Watchers wasn't just about things, it changed how people thought. Humans began to see nature not as something to live within, but something to control. Animals became targets, not fellow creatures. Other humans became rivals, not kin. The text tells us, and men perished, they cried, and their voice reached to heaven. The corruption spread like a sickness, few remained untouched by it. Some knowledge came with immediate harm. Weapons brought swift death. Other knowledge carried slow poison. Astrology led people to fear the stars rather than simply enjoy their beauty. Plant lore and medicine sometimes healed, but also created new dependencies. Perhaps most dangerous was the knowledge of metals. Humans learned to dig into the earth, to melt stone until it flowed like water, to reshape the world itself. This knowledge would echo through all human history that followed. The angels had broken heaven's trust. Knowledge meant for gradual discovery over thousands of years was dumped into human minds all at once. Like giving fire to an infant, the results were both wonderful and terrible. Enoch doesn't condemn knowledge itself. What it condemns is knowledge without wisdom, learning without love. The Watchers taught humans how to do things without teaching why or whether they should be done. As corruption spread, the natural world suffered too. Animals grew more aggressive. Plants withered. Even the weather patterns changed. All creation groaned under the weight of disorder. This wasn't just a physical corruption, but a spiritual one. Humans began to worship the Watchers as gods. They forgot the true creator who had set the stars in motion. They traded truth for power, wisdom for cleverness. Heaven watched as the beautiful garden of earth became a battlefield. The experiment of freedom had led to chaos. Divine patience, though vast, was not endless. The lesson echoes through time. Knowledge without wisdom destroys. Power without goodness corrupts. Progress without purpose leads nowhere worth going. As humans today unlock atom, gene, and mind, Enoch's warning still whispers to us. Not all that can be known should be known, at least not before we're ready to bear its weight. Enoch's summons. In a world drowning in chaos, one man walked a different path. The book of Genesis tells us simply, Enoch walked with God. 300 years of daily choice, choosing peace over violence, wisdom over clever tricks, kindness over power. Enoch was no king or warrior. The texts describe him as a scribe, a keeper of records, a man of letters and numbers. In a world turning toward weapons, he held only a pen. Picture a quiet man with weathered hands and thoughtful eyes. While others fought for land or gold, Enoch watched the stars, noted the seasons, and taught his children to listen more than speak. His life wasn't perfect. He faced the same world as everyone else, a world where giants stalked the hills and violence filled the valleys. Yet something set him apart. Where others saw only threats, he saw patterns. Where they heard noise, he heard music. One night as he slept, everything changed. The ancient text tells us, and it came to pass, when the sons of men had increased, that in those days there were born to them fair and beautiful daughters, and the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. Enoch wasn't chosen for his strength or royal blood. He was chosen because he still remembered how to listen. The summons came without warning. Not a thunderous call from heaven, but a quieter thing, a dream, a visitation, a knowing. 2 men appeared to me, very tall, such as I have never seen on earth. Their faces shone like the sun, their eyes were like burning lamps, fire came from their lips, their dress had the appearance of feathers, their feet were purple, their wings brighter than gold. These weren't the fallen Watchers, but true angels, still loyal to heaven's throne. They spoke with voices like rushing water. Fear not, Enoch, righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Come with us, and tell the Watchers of heaven, who have abandoned the high heaven, that they shall never find peace. Imagine the weight of such a task. Enoch, a human, called to deliver judgment to beings of light and power. It would be like a child telling giants they've been bad. Yet Enoch agreed. The text says simply, "And I went and sat down by the waters of Dan in the land of Dan, which is south of Hermon, to the west. I read their petition until I fell asleep. When he woke, everything looked the same hills, the same sky, but Enoch was changed. He had become a bridge between worlds, a messenger walking between realms. His first task was to find the fallen Watchers. They weren't hard to locate. Their impact on the world was everywhere. but approaching them required courage beyond measure. The Book of Enoch describes how he traveled to their dwelling place and found them all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. Even in their fallen state, these were beings of tremendous power, yet they recognized in Enoch something they had lost: connection to the divine. They begged him, "Intercede for us, who have abandoned the high heaven." These beings who had once stood in God's presence now needed a human to speak for them. The roles had reversed. Those who came to rule now pleaded for mercy. Enoch listened to their confession. They admitted teaching forbidden things, taking human wives, creating the violent nephilim. They knew their punishment was coming, but hoped for leniency. With these words heavy in his heart, Enoch prepared for an even greater journey, not across earth, but beyond it. He would be taken to heaven itself to deliver this message and receive God's answer. This was Enoch's turning point. From ordinary man to prophet, from observer to participant in cosmic drama, his summons reminds us that anyone, no matter how seemingly ordinary, may be called to extraordinary purpose. The quiet scribe would become the voice that connects heaven and earth. The man who walked with God would soon walk in God's own realm. Judgment of the fallen angels. The journey began in darkness. Enoch tells us, "And they took me to a place where there were things like flaming fire, and when they pleased, they appeared as men." The angels who guided him could shift between forms, sometimes appearing human, sometimes as pure energy. Enoch was carried beyond the world he knew, beyond mountains and seas, to realms few humans had glimpsed. "And they lifted me up into heaven, and I came to a wall built of crystals, surrounded by tongues of fire." He wasn't in a place that could be found on any map. He had entered the spiritual realm, where thoughts have form and time flows differently than on earth. Before the throne of heaven, Enoch delivered the watcher's plea. But heaven already knew their crimes. The archangels had been watching. Every tear shed by humans had been counted. Every drop of blood spilled by the Nephilim had been witnessed. The judgment came not as angry shouts, but as quiet certainty. Go say to the watchers of heaven who sent you to petition for them, you should petition for men, not men for you. The fallen angels had hoped Enoch would speak for them. Instead, he became the messenger of their doom. The verdict was clear. You have been in heaven, but all its secrets had not yet been revealed to you. You knew worthless ones, and in the hardness of your hearts you revealed these to women, and through these secrets women and men work much evil on earth. Their punishment would fit their crime. They had broken boundaries, so boundaries would now hold them. They had corrupted the earth, so the earth would no longer welcome them. Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into darkness. Make an opening in the desert and cast him into it. Place upon him rough and sharp rocks, and cover him with darkness. Let him stay there forever, and cover his face so that he cannot see light. For beings made of light, darkness was the greatest fear. For spirits used to freedom, chains were the heaviest burden. For those who once stood in God's presence, separation was the deepest pain. Each watcher received his sentence. Some would be bound in valleys, others thrown into fiery pits. All would wait long ages for the final judgment day. The Book of Enoch describes their prison in vivid terms. I saw a deep pit with heavenly fire on its pillars. I saw inside them descending pillars of fire that were immeasurable in depth or height. This wasn't merely physical punishment. It was spiritual exile, the natural result of their choices. They had turned from light to darkness in their hearts. Now their outer reality matched their inner choice. The judgment wasn't just about punishing the guilty, it was about protecting the innocent. As long as the watchers roamed free, humanity would never find peace. What about their giant children? The Nephilim too would face justice. The spirits of the giants oppress, corrupt, attack, fight, and break on the earth and cause sorrow. They eat no food and don't thirst, and are not observed. These spirits will rise against the sons of men and against the women because they proceeded from them. But unlike their fathers, the Nephilim would eventually find rest. The giants are slaughtered, die, and are destroyed. The spirits will desert their bodies, and their flesh shall be destroyed. Even in judgment, there was mercy. The corruption would end. The world would be cleansed. A new beginning would come. Enoch watched this divine court with human eyes. He saw justice beyond human understanding, perfect in its balance of mercy and truth. The angels who remained faithful explained to Enoch, "As God lives, this judgment upon you has gone forth from God. The sentence from him cannot be resisted." Some modern readers find this judgment harsh. But Enoch's account shows us a cosmos of balance, where actions have consequences, where boundaries matter, where power brings responsibility. The Watchers weren't punished for a single mistake. They had knowingly, repeatedly broken cosmic law. They had brought suffering to countless innocent beings. They had twisted the natural order until it nearly broke. Their judgment reminds us that in the oldest stories, justice always comes, even if it takes generations. No power, however great, stands above the moral law that holds the universe together, the cosmic jail. Deep beneath mountains unknown to human maps, beyond valleys no explorer has charted, lies a prison unlike any on earth. Its walls aren't stone, but reality itself. Its bars aren't metal, but divine decree. This is the cosmic jail described in the Book of Enoch, the holding place for heavenly beings who chose rebellion. Enoch's vision of this supernatural prison comes to us in vivid detail. And from there I went to another place more terrible than this and saw terrible things. A great fire there which burned and blazed, and the place had a cleft reaching to the abyss, full of great pillars of fire falling. Neither its extent nor size could I see, nor could I see its source. Unlike human jails built to reform or punish for a time, this cosmic prison was designed to contain. The Watchers, beings of immense power and knowledge, couldn't be held by ordinary means. Their jail had to exist partially outside time itself. The text describes multiple containment areas, each designed for specific offenders. For Azazel, who taught humans warfare and vanity, make an opening in the desert and cast him into it. Place upon him rough and sharp rocks and cover him with darkness. For Semjaza, who led the rebellion, bind them for 70 generations underneath the earth until the day of judgment, and of their completion until the eternal judgment is accomplished. These weren't metaphors, but spiritual realities, places where fallen angels would wait out the long ages until final judgment. Modern readers might wonder, where exactly is this prison? The Book of Enoch places it variously at the ends of the earth, in the west, and beyond great mountains. These weren't directions on a map, but spiritual coordinates, places where the material and immaterial worlds overlap. The prisoners weren't only the 200 Watchers. Their punishment included separation from their giant offspring. The Nephilim's bodies would die in the coming flood, but their spirits would remain, trapped between worlds, neither fully alive nor fully dead. Enoch describes how these spirits will rise up against the children of the people and against the women because they have proceeded from them. These became what later traditions would call demons, bodiless entities seeking physical form. The cosmic jail had different levels and sections. Some areas burned with ceaseless fire. Others were dark beyond imagining. Some prisoners were bound with heavy chains, while others were confined by barriers they couldn't even perceive. These weren't ordinary chains. Enoch describes them as made of immense weight. Some scholars suggest these weren't physical restraints, but bonds of divine energy, limiting the very essence of these spiritual beings. The prison guards weren't human, but angelic, loyal spirits assigned to watch the Watchers. Chief among them was the Archangel Raphael, whose name means God heals. His presence suggests the prison served a healing purpose for creation, containing the infection of rebellion. This cosmic jail appears in other ancient texts too. The New Testament's second letter of Peter mentions angels in chains of darkness reserved for judgment. The Book of Jude speaks of angels who did not keep their proper domain, but left their own abode. He has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day. Are these just shared myths or glimpses of the same spiritual reality? The consistent details across cultures suggest these stories tap into something deeply embedded in human spiritual awareness. The prison term was set for 70 generations, a symbolic number representing a complete age. The Watchers would remain confined until the end of the current world cycle. Only then would final judgment come. Unlike human prisons meant to reform, this cosmic jail existed simply to contain. Reform would come not through punishment, but through witnessing, watching as the consequences of their actions played out across generations of human history. The most poignant aspect of this imprisonment was its contrast with their former freedom. These beings once soared between stars and stood in divine presence. Now they were confined, limited, bound, experiencing for the first time what it meant to be restricted. Their prison sentence carried a powerful message. Freedom without responsibility isn't freedom at all. It's chaos. True freedom comes with boundaries, with respect for natural laws and divine order. The cosmic jail reminds us that justice spans beyond human lifetimes. Some debts take ages to settle, some wounds require eons to heal. But in the spiritual economy described by Enoch, balance always returns. Disorder eventually gives way to order. Darkness ultimately yields to light. Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel. The archangels enter. The skies darken. Heaven stirs. The great archangels step forward. Long before they became fixtures in world religion, these celestial beings emerge in Enoch's account as cosmic enforcers. God's justice requires action. The Watchers have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Michael, whose name means "who is like God," commander of the heavenly hosts. Raphael, God heals, medicine bearer of heaven. Uriel, light of God, keeper of wisdom and warning. Gabriel, strength of God, heaven's messenger of both doom and hope. Enoch tells us these four stand before the throne. They watch the corruption below with growing alarm. Human cries reach heaven day and night. The whole earth is filled with blood and wickedness, the text says. The giants devour all mankind can produce. They consume birds, beasts, reptiles. When food runs short, they turn on humans. When humans aren't enough, they begin to eat each other. God speaks. His voice rolls like thunder through the heavenly court. Go to Noah, son of Lamech, commands the Ancient of Days. Tell him what is coming. He alone will escape with his sons. Gabriel receives this task. He will warn the righteous man to build his ark. Raphael, bind Azazel, cast him into darkness. The healing angel must first remove the infection. Throw upon him rough and jagged rocks. Cover him with darkness. There he shall remain forever. Cover his face so he may not see light. This punishment comes first because Azazel taught humans violence through metalwork. He showed them how to make weapons. His knowledge unleashed bloodshed upon the world. On the day of judgment, Raphael, he will be cast into the fire. Next comes Uriel's task. The angel of wisdom must warn the son of Lamech. He must explain the coming devastation. No corner of creation will escape the flood. But Michael, mightiest of angels, receives the gravest charge of all. Go, Michael. Bind Semjaza and his associates who have mixed with women and defiled themselves. When they have witnessed the destruction of their beloved children, bind them for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth until the day of judgment, the day of the great consummation. 70 generations. A prison sentence beyond human reckoning. Not a quick execution, but a drawn-out agony of waiting. They who thought themselves beyond time will now feel every slow second of it passing. The angels bow, their missions clear. Heaven's justice machine rumbles into motion. Enoch witnesses this divine council meeting. He sees how heaven responds to crisis. This isn't mindless destruction. It follows procedure, deliberation, specific roles assigned to specific angels. The archangels depart, each to their solemn duty. They move like lightning across the vault of heaven. Their wings stretch across the sky. Their light blinds any who might glimpse them. Michael descends first. His presence makes the earth tremble. Mountains shift. Forests bend. He seeks the rebel angels where they gather in the valleys of the earth. Raphael follows, carrying chains no created being can break. They are forged from elements that existed before the world began. Darkness swirls around him, ready to entomb the teacher of forbidden knowledge. Uriel's light flashes in warning. Those with eyes to see recognize the signal. Most humans, lost in corruption, notice nothing. Gabriel approaches Noah. The righteous man falls on his face at first sight of the celestial messenger. Stand up, Gabriel tells him. Heaven has plans for you. Enoch records these scenes with awe. The machinery of divine justice moves with precision beyond human courts. No appeal exists, no plea bargain. The sentence handed down will be carried out exactly as decreed. The archangels return to their places around the throne when their tasks are complete. They stand as living symbols of God's will enacted. They serve as models for later religious tradition, beings of purpose, power, and unwavering duty. Behind them, bound in their separate prisons, the Watchers await final judgment. Their giant children face destruction in the coming flood. The age of human-angel interaction comes crashing to its end. Heaven seals itself off. The lessons have been taught, the boundaries re-established. Earth must now face the cleansing waters. The flood as a cleansing fire. Water and fire seem opposites. Yet in Enoch's vision, the coming flood burns like flame. It cleanses, it purifies, it destroys completely what cannot be saved. The world before the flood exists in Enoch's telling as a place of monstrous corruption. Human sin merges with angelic rebellion. The natural order has been broken beyond normal repair. God speaks to Enoch, "Look upon the earth, see what the watchers have done. All has been corrupted. The giants consume and destroy without end." Water becomes God's tool of total renewal. Not a gentle rain, but the unleashing of cosmic forces. The windows of heaven open. The fountains of the deep break through. Water from above, water from below. Creation itself participates in the cleansing. Noah works on his ark as the archangels complete their tasks around him. The bound watchers can only watch as the end approaches. Their punishment includes witnessing the death of their beloved children. They will be destroyed by waters, Enoch writes, recording God's decree. A flood shall come for 1 year. Nothing will survive except what is with Noah. The Nephilim, those mighty giants born of human women and angelic fathers, face extinction. Their physical forms will drown. Their spirits, however, Enoch tells us, will remain. Here emerges one of the text's most lasting contributions to later demonology. The spirits of the giants shall be like clouds, the book states. They will corrupt, fall, fight, bruise upon the earth. They will cause sorrow. They will attack, struggle, and throw upon the earth. They will take no food, but will hunger and thirst and cause destruction. The flood doesn't end all evil. It instead transforms physical monsters into spiritual ones. The Nephilim become the disembodied demons of later tradition, hungry ghosts seeking bodies to inhabit. Water rises. The cleansing begins. For 40 days, rain falls without stopping. Waters cover even mountain peaks. Everything not in the ark drowns. Enoch describes this through prophetic vision. He sees the world before, during, and after this cosmic reset. He understands it not as mindless destruction, but as surgical removal of corruption. The world before the flood remains in Enoch's account as a warning. When boundaries collapse between heaven and earth, chaos follows. When knowledge comes without wisdom, disaster results. Noah's family alone survives. 8 humans to rebuild civilization. The ark protects them through the year-long flood. Animals join them, life preserved amid death. After the waters recede, God establishes his covenant. Never again will water destroy all flesh. The rainbow seals this promise, yet Enoch sees beyond this moment. The first cleansing came by water. The next, he prophesies, will come by fire. The earth shall be cleansed from all corruption, from every sin, from all punishment and torment. Enoch writes, "I will not send these again upon the earth from generation to generation forever." The flood story in Enoch carries additional meaning beyond Genesis. It marks the end of the Watcher's direct influence on human history. It establishes clear separation between heaven and earth. It transforms physical evil into spiritual evil. Most importantly, it shows God's unwillingness to abandon creation entirely. Even in destruction comes preservation. Noah carries forward human hope. The animals continue their kinds. Plants will regrow. Life resumes. Enoch's flood narrative expands beyond 40 days and 40 nights. He sees it as a year-long process of death and rebirth. The world that emerges looks the same, yet stands fundamentally changed. The chained watchers remain imprisoned in their dark valleys. The spirits of their giant children now roam as disembodied entities. Humans rebuild without direct angelic interference. A new age begins. The pre-flood world fades into myth and memory. Enoch's account preserves what otherwise might be forgotten: heaven's justice, angelic folly, and creation's renewal. The 3 parables overview. The heart of Enoch's book comes next. 3 mighty visions, 3 parables of endings and beginnings. Moving from the ancient flood, Enoch's focus shifts forward. He sees humanity's final chapter. His eyes pierce the veil of time. The second vision of wisdom, Enoch calls this section. These visions surpass simple prophecy. They reveal cosmic patterns of judgment, redemption, and transformation. Each parable unfolds with striking imagery. Each carries warnings and promises. Together they form the theological core of the entire book. The first parable concerns heaven itself, its hosts, its inhabitants, its measurements and mysteries. Enoch witnesses the dwelling places of the righteous. He sees where holy ones rest after death. He glimpses the hidden Messiah figure who waits to be revealed. The second parable focuses on Judgment Day. The mysterious Son of Man appears. Kings tremble, the righteous rejoice. All secrets come to light. The third parable reveals the final reward of the righteous and the last punishment of the wicked. Light and darkness separate fully. New heavens emerge. A transformed earth awaits those found worthy. These visions don't come to Enoch chronologically. They spiral and fold back on themselves. They show simultaneous realities from different angles. Past, present, and future blur together. I saw the secrets of heaven, Enoch tells us. Not distant predictions, but eternal truths already established outside time. What will happen has, in heaven's view, already occurred. 4 distinctive features mark these parables. First, their cosmic scope. Enoch sees beyond earth to the entire created order. Second, their concern with righteousness and judgment. Heaven's standards apply universally. Third, their vision of heavenly books where all deeds are recorded. Nothing escapes divine notice. Fourth, the emergence of a messianic figure who brings God's final justice. The parables speak in symbolic language. Animals represent nations. Stars signify angels. Mountains become powers and authorities. Interpreting requires spiritual sight. Who can read the mind of God? Enoch asks. Who can see as angels see? Yet the parables attempt to translate heavenly truth into human language. These chapters proved troubling to later religious authorities. Their apocalyptic fervor challenged institutional power. Their messianic imagery seemed too specific, too revolutionary. For early followers of Jesus, however, these parables proved crucial. The Son of Man walking beside the Ancient of Days, the pre-existent one chosen before creation. These images shaped early Christian theology profoundly. Before the sun and stars were made, before the powers of heaven were created, his name was named before the Lord of Spirits, Enoch writes of this messianic figure. Such phrases would later appear in Christian writings about Christ. The 3 parables function as windows into heaven's perspective. They reveal time as God sees it, not linear but complete. They show justice as heaven understands it, not compromised but absolute. Enoch receives these visions while still in his earthly body. The text emphasizes this point repeatedly. A living man witnesses what normally only the dead may see. I was carried aloft in a vision, he explains. I saw the holy ones of heaven. This direct access to divine secrets forms the basis of his authority. The parables stand as Enoch's most influential legacy. Their imagery enriched Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Their visions of cosmic justice inspired movements across centuries. When we examine apocalyptic literature throughout history, we find echoes of Enoch's 3 parables. Their impact extends far beyond their original context. Even today, when people envision final judgment, heaven's rewards, or messianic arrival, they often unconsciously draw on imagery first articulated in these ancient pages. The Righteous One, first glimpses of a Messiah. A figure emerges from light. Neither fully angel nor merely human. Enoch sees him and wonders, "Who is this?" he asks his angelic guide. "This is the Son of Man," comes the answer. "This is the one to whom righteousness belongs. With him righteousness dwells." Here, in writings dating centuries before Christianity, appears a messianic vision that would profoundly shape religious history. The title Son of Man would later become Jesus of Nazareth's favorite self-description. The image of a pre-existent heavenly figure who brings final judgment would transform Jewish messianic expectations. In Enoch's first parable, this mysterious figure appears seated beside the Head of Days, another name for God himself, not standing as a servant might, but seated in the position of authority and equality. His face was full of grace, like one of the holy angels, Enoch writes. Yet this is no ordinary angel. This figure judges angels themselves. 4 distinctive qualities mark Enoch's messianic figure. First, his pre-existence. He was named before the sun and stars were made. Second, his righteousness. He embodies perfect alignment with heaven's standards. Third, his role as judge. Kings and mighty ones tremble before him. Fourth, his status as chosen one. God himself has selected him for this cosmic role. This Son of Man you have seen shall raise up kings and mighty men from their thrones. He shall loosen the reins of the strong and crush the teeth of sinners. Such language carried revolutionary implications. In a world of empires and oppression, Enoch envisioned divine overthrow of earthly power structures. The Messiah would reverse the order of things. The first would become last, the last would become first. The heavenly figure appears with dual purpose, judgment and salvation. For the righteous, his coming means vindication. For the wicked, his arrival brings terror. He shall put down the kings from their thrones and kingdoms, Enoch continues, because they do not praise and glorify him, nor thankfully acknowledge from whom their kingdom was bestowed. This cosmic judge knows all secrets. Nothing remains hidden from his gaze. He weighs not just actions but intentions, not just public deeds but private thoughts. In those days the earth will give back what has been entrusted to it. Sheol will return what it has received. The elect one shall sit on my throne. The resurrection of the dead accompanies the Messiah's arrival. Judgment requires all to be present, living and dead alike. Heaven's books open. Every life faces review. Most striking is how this heavenly figure combines aspects previously separate in Jewish tradition. He possesses divine qualities yet stands distinct from God. He exercises divine authority yet receives it from another. He exists from before creation yet appears at history's end. He shall judge all the works of the holy ones in heaven. He shall weigh their deeds in the balance. Even angels face his judgment. The watchers, bound until the great day, will receive their final sentence from him. Their temporary chains become permanent punishment. For early Christians, these passages seem to describe Jesus with uncanny accuracy. The gospel writers drew heavily from this imagery. Jesus himself quoted and alluded to Enochic traditions. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, Jesus says in Matthew's gospel, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. The parallel to Enoch's vision is unmistakable. This messianic figure also brings comfort to the suffering. He wipes away every tear. He establishes justice where corruption once ruled. He transforms the world into what it always should have been. With this Son of Man, they shall live and eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever. The righteous receive eternal fellowship with him. Their reward isn't just survival, but intimate communion with the divine representative. While later Jewish and Christian traditions would develop these ideas further, their seeds lie here in Enoch's parables. A heavenly Messiah, a final judge, a vindicator of the righteous, a pre-existent one who enters history at its climax. For those who first heard these words, they offered hope beyond present suffering. Kings and empires might rule now, but their power was temporary. The true king waited in heaven. His arrival would set all things right. The Ancient of Days and the heavenly court. Beyond stars, beyond time, a throne of blazing fire, Enoch's vision continues. He sees the Ancient of Days, God himself, presiding over heaven's court. White hair like pure wool, garments like snow, eyes like flames of fire. Thousands stood before him, Enoch writes. 10,000 times 10,000 attended him. Numbers beyond counting surround the throne. Angels of every rank and order wait upon the ancient's command. Unlike human courts with contradictory testimony and uncertain verdicts, this tribunal operates with perfect knowledge. Books open before the judge. Every deed recorded, every word preserved, every thought captured in heaven's perfect memory. The judgment was set and the books were opened, Enoch tells us. This phrase would later echo in the Book of Revelation. The image of heaven's record-keeping became fixed in religious imagination, the Book of Life, where salvation or damnation stands inscribed. 4 rivers flow from beneath the throne. Fire, not water, forms their current. Angels of punishment stand ready. The chambers of judgment wait for their occupants. I looked and saw a lofty throne, continues Enoch. Its appearance was like crystal and its wheels like the shining sun, and from beneath the throne came rivers of burning fire. The Ancient of Days does not judge alone. The Son of Man sits at his right hand. Together they review the deeds of humanity. Together they pronounce sentence, reward or punishment, life or second death. Enoch witnesses something few mortals ever see. Heaven's full court assembled. Angels of every rank gather. Powers and dominions take their places. Cherubim and seraphim stand at attention. The head of days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, and thousands and 10,000s of angels without number. This heavenly assembly serves specific purpose. The time has come to judge the watchers fully. Their temporary chains will now become eternal punishment. Their 70 generations of waiting have ended. Each watcher approaches the throne. Each hears his sentence pronounced. No appeal exists. No mercy awaits those who corrupted God's creation and taught humans forbidden knowledge. The mystery of evil finds partial explanation here. Why does wickedness persist? Why do the righteous suffer while evil seems to flourish? Enoch's answer: justice delayed is not justice denied. Heaven's court will have the final word. The Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time arrived when the saints gained possession of the kingdom. Here emerges another revolutionary idea: heaven's kingdom transferred to earth, not just punishment for the wicked, but reward for the faithful. Not escape from the world, but transformation of it. The heavenly court establishes a pattern for human justice. Records must be kept, evidence must be weighed, witnesses must testify, verdicts must reflect truth rather than power or influence. In those days shall the earth give back what has been entrusted to it, and Sheol shall give back what it has received. The resurrection accompanies judgment. Those long dead will stand before the throne. Bodies and souls reunite to face heaven's verdict together. Most striking in Enoch's vision is the certainty of justice. No bribery can sway the Ancient of Days. No deception can fool the Son of Man. No power can resist heaven's sentence once pronounced. For ancient readers living under corrupt human systems, this vision offered profound hope. Pharaohs and emperors might escape human justice, but heaven's court awaited them. The oppressed would see vindication. The wicked would face consequences. In those days the angels shall gather together and thrust themselves toward the east upon the Parthians and Medes. They shall shake their kings, so that a spirit of unrest shall come upon them and stir them up from their thrones. Earthly thrones will fall. Heavenly authority will prevail. The court sessions Enoch witnesses establish cosmic reset, evil judged, righteousness rewarded, creation renewed. When early Christians spoke of the day of the Lord or the last judgment, they drew on imagery first articulated in these passages: the Ancient of Days seated on his throne, books opened, angels gathered, sentences pronounced. Enoch stands as witness to these proceedings. He sees what lies beyond history's veil. He returns with warning and promise alike. Judgment comes for all, but salvation awaits the faithful, the chosen one and the elect. Night has fallen over ancient Judea. The stars shine like silver pins in the deep fabric of sky. In a small room lit by oil lamps, a scribe carefully copies words onto parchment. These are the visions of Enoch, words that will one day be hidden away, feared by some, treasured by others. Who will be saved when the world ends? Who faces judgment? These questions have haunted us since we first gazed at the stars and felt our own smallness. The Book of Enoch offers answers that later shaped how many faiths view salvation. In the second parable, Enoch speaks of the chosen one who sits upon a throne of glory. This figure would later echo through the centuries, setting the stage for messianic hopes across many faiths. The text calls him the Son of Man, a title that would later appear in the Gospels, spoken by Jesus himself. The chosen one in Enoch's vision stands before the Ancient of Days, a figure of pure light seated on a throne of fire. Here we find the roots of what Christians would later call the Second Coming. Long before the New Testament was written, Enoch described a final judge who would sort the righteous from the wicked. What makes Enoch's vision so striking is how it splits humanity into two clear groups: the elect and the condemned. There is no middle ground in his cosmic courtroom. Those who follow divine law join the congregation of the elect. All others face harsh judgment. The elect aren't chosen by birth or wealth or even religious belonging. What matters in Enoch's vision is how people live, their deeds, their kindness, their faithfulness to heaven's ways. Power and riches mean nothing at the final count. In one moving passage, Enoch describes how the prayers of the righteous rise like smoke to heaven. Nothing is forgotten. No good deed vanishes without trace. The universe itself remembers who showed mercy, who defended the weak, who stood fast against darkness. Those chosen find their names written in heavenly books, cosmic ledgers that track every human life. These books become central to later Jewish and Christian ideas about judgment. We still speak today of the Book of Life, a direct echo of Enoch's ancient vision. What's radical about Enoch's view of the elect is how it cuts across earthly power. Kings and beggars stand as equals before the throne. This message carried deep appeal for Jews living under foreign rule, for early Christians facing Roman power, for anyone who felt crushed by the mighty. Light fills the homes of the chosen ones in Enoch's vision. Their faces shine like the sun. Their eyes gleam with inner fire. The text paints salvation not as escape from the world, but as transformation, becoming beings of light while still having human form. The chosen live forever in Enoch's vision, length of days with the Son of Man. This clear picture of eternal life appears here before many other Jewish texts embraced it. Enoch stands at a turning point, when hope for justice shifted from this world to the next. Many scholars believe these passages about the elect shaped early Christian thinking. The hidden book whispered its secrets through the centuries, speaking of cosmic justice when earthly courts failed. In times of darkness, the promise that someone was keeping count of both good and bad deeds gave comfort to the suffering. What does it mean to be chosen? Enoch tells us to walk in light, to show mercy, to keep faith with heaven even when all seems lost. His vision reminds us that in the longest view, the view from beyond time itself, what matters most is how we treat each other on our brief journey together. Secrets of time and space. The night sky spins slowly above the desert. A lone figure stands watching the stars trace their paths. Enoch, seventh from Adam, sees beyond what other eyes can see. His visions reach past the curtain of our world into realms of light and shadow beyond. The Book of Enoch takes us on a cosmic journey unlike any other ancient text. It pulls back the veil between worlds to reveal secrets of time and space that bent the minds of its first readers and still amaze us today. I saw the winds that turn the sky, Enoch tells us. I saw the storehouses of snow and the chambers of hail. His tour of the universe shows a cosmos alive with purpose, where nothing happens by chance. Every star has its place. Every season follows divine plan. Angels guide Enoch through realms no human eye has seen. He walks through crystal palaces where time itself is woven like thread. He sees the first heaven, and then 6 more beyond it, each more wondrous than the last. These 7 heavens would later shape how many faiths picture the structure of creation. In the highest places, Enoch witnesses wheels of fire turning within wheels, cosmic gears that drive the universe forward through time. This vision would later inspire the prophet Ezekiel and countless mystics seeking to understand how God's will unfolds in our world. What makes these visions so striking is how they blend science and spirit. Enoch carefully notes the paths of stars, the turning of planets, the flow of celestial rivers, yet he sees these as more than natural facts. They reveal the mind behind all things, the pattern woven into creation itself. In one breathtaking passage, Enoch stands at the ends of the earth where heaven meets the world. He sees doors opening in the sky where the sun rises and sets. He watches stars emerge from cosmic gates at their appointed times. The universe runs like perfect clockwork in his vision. Time itself looks different through Enoch's eyes. He speaks of days before days, a realm where past, present, and future flow together like rivers meeting the sea. He sees the scroll of what is to come, unfurled before him, written before time began. This view of eternity shaped how later faiths would understand God's knowledge of all things. Enoch's journey takes him to the place beyond north, where he finds mountains of precious stones, sapphire, ruby, emerald. These aren't just treasures, but the building blocks of higher worlds. The physical universe in Enoch's vision is just the shadow of something far greater. Light itself has substance in these visions. Angels are clothed in light as with fabric. The throne room of the Most High blazes with light beyond light that would blind mortal eyes. This understanding of light as both physical and spiritual would later influence how many traditions picture divine presence. Perhaps most striking are the places where spirits wait between life and death. Enoch sees great hollow mountains where souls rest until Judgment Day. Some sleep in peace, others know only darkness. Here we find early seeds of beliefs about purgatory, paradise, and places of waiting that would flower in later faiths. Water flows from beneath the throne of glory, rivers of mercy that nourish all creation. Fire burns without consuming what it touches. Air carries prayers like birds flying heavenward. The elements themselves have purpose and meaning in Enoch's cosmic vision. What does it mean for us today, this ancient map of heaven? Perhaps it reminds us that reality is deeper than what we see with our eyes alone. There are patterns behind patterns, meanings within meanings. The universe in Enoch's vision isn't cold or random, but alive with purpose, a book for those who learn to read its signs. As stars wheel above and time flows around us like a river, Enoch's visions invite us to look deeper. Beyond the visible world lies another, just as real but hidden from casual glance. For those with eyes to see, heaven touches earth at every moment. The mundane world shimmers with hints of something more. Final judgment for kings and tyrants. The palace gleams with gold and marble. Guards stand at attention, faces blank as stone. Inside, a king dreams troubled dreams. Though walls protect him and armies obey him, something unseen makes him afraid. The Book of Enoch speaks directly to his fear. No text in ancient times challenged earthly power more boldly than Enoch's visions. While other writings might gently suggest that kings should be just, Enoch thunders that all rulers, all who hold power over others, face special judgment from heaven itself. I saw those who grasp the earth, Enoch tells us, whose words make mountains tremble. These mighty ones build palaces and carve their names in stone. They believe their power will last forever. But Enoch sees their true fate, and it isn't pretty. The kings of earth stand naked before the throne in Enoch's vision. No crowds cheer them. No courtiers flatter them. Their crowns mean nothing. Their wealth buys no favor. Those who ruled by force discover that force means nothing in the court of stars. What makes this vision so daring is when it was written. During times when challenging a king meant death, these words claim that heaven itself kept count of royal sins. Every unjust verdict, every stolen field, every widow left weeping, all recorded in books no earthly hand could erase. The mighty shall be taken from their thrones, Enoch declares. This revolutionary message sparked hope among common people crushed by taxes and conscription. It warned those in power that their authority came with cosmic responsibility. No wonder many rulers wanted this book banned. In one striking passage, angels show Enoch a great valley where kings and the mighty will be thrown. Their fine clothes won't follow them there. Their gold stays behind. All that remains is the substance of their souls and the weight of their deeds against the scales of perfect justice. The proud discover humility too late. Those who never knelt must kneel at last. Those who showed no mercy find none waiting for them. The cosmic balance writes itself in Enoch's vision, settling accounts that earthly courts left open. What makes this judgment so complete is how it strips away all human rank. Birth, wealth, fame, all mean nothing. Only character remains. The shepherd who ruled his flock with kindness stands taller than the king who ruled his people with fear. Their faces shall be filled with shame, the text tells us, speaking of fallen rulers. Not physical pain, but the agony of seeing clearly, perhaps for the first time, what they've done and who they've been. This shame burns hotter than any fire in Enoch's cosmic courtroom. Yet judgment in Enoch isn't just punishment, it's revelation, truth laid bare. Kings who ruled with justice find honor. Those who defended the weak hear praise from angelic voices. Power itself isn't evil in this vision. Only its misuse faces heaven's wrath. The Book of Enoch speaks truth to power across the ages. It reminds rulers that someone greater watches their deeds. It tells the oppressed that justice waits beyond the reach of bribes and threats. This message proved so dangerous that many with authority worked to erase it from memory. When early Christians, themselves facing Roman power, embraced these passages, they found courage to stand firm. When medieval peasants heard whispers of Enoch's vision, they saw their sufferings in cosmic light. Even today, these ancient words remind us that power without justice cannot stand forever. As night falls and palace lights dim, the king still lies awake. Something troubles his dreams, perhaps the echo of Enoch's warning across the centuries. No wall is high enough to keep out the truth, that all who rule must someday be ruled by the truth of who they've been and what they've done. Resurrection and the afterlife. Sunset paints the sky in shades of amber and gold. In ancient times, people watched the sun sink below the horizon and wondered, where does light go when darkness comes? Where do we go when our own light fades? The Book of Enoch offers answers that changed how we think about death itself. Before Enoch's visions, many ancient Jews had only shadowy ideas about what waits beyond life. The early Hebrew Bible speaks of Sheol, a dim place where the dead become mere shadows of who they were. Not quite heaven, not quite hell, just faded existence without joy or pain. Enoch changed everything. His visions showed something radical, that death isn't the end but a doorway. The body returns to earth, but the spirit journeys on. This view would later shape how Christians, Muslims, and many others picture life after death. I saw the places prepared for the righteous, Enoch tells us. These aren't gloomy shadows, but realms of light where the holy ones walk in eternal light. The good find joy beyond earthly pleasure. Their rewards match the goodness they showed in life. What makes Enoch's vision so striking is its physical nature. This isn't just spirits floating in clouds. He describes resurrection, the dead rising with bodies transformed, but still somehow themselves. They eat the fruit of wisdom. They drink from rivers of light. Heaven in Enoch's vision is a place you can touch and taste. The righteous don't just survive in these visions, they shine. Their faces shall shine with joy, the text tells us. This idea of the blessed becoming beings of light would later appear in Christian writing about saints and in Islamic visions of paradise. What begins in Enoch flows through many faiths. Not everyone stays dead until Judgment Day in Enoch's complex vision. Some, the most virtuous, already walk in paradise. Others sleep deeply, waiting for the final trumpet. Still others wander as spirits, neither fully here nor fully there. These varied paths beyond death would influence how many traditions picture the journey of souls. Perhaps most striking is Enoch's vision of bodily resurrection. Bone shall join to bone, he tells us, watching the dead rise whole again. This clear picture of physical return from death appears here, before many other Jewish texts embraced it. Enoch stands at a turning point, when hope extended beyond this world into the next. Justice continues after death in Enoch's vision. Those who suffered without cause find comfort. Those who grieved find joy. Tears are wiped away, old wounds heal. The cosmic balance rights itself in ways the living can barely imagine. In one moving passage, Enoch describes how those who died for truth's sake receive special honor. Martyrs, those who gave their lives rather than betray what's right, shine brightest in the world beyond. This idea would later give courage to countless people facing death for their beliefs. The mysteries of death lose some of their sting in these ancient pages. Enoch shows us that nothing good is truly lost. No kind word vanishes forever. No act of mercy goes unnoticed by the eyes that see all things. What we build in love outlasts the body's brief journey. Time works differently beyond the veil in Enoch's vision. 1,000 years pass like one day. A moment stretches to hold eternity. Those who cross over find themselves beyond the river of time that carries the living along its current. Past, present, and future flow together there like streams joining the sea. What waits for us when breath stops and hearts grow still? Enoch offers hope across the centuries, not emptiness but fullness, not darkness but light, not an end but a beginning. The sun sets, yes, but only to rise again in a place where no shadow falls. As stars appear in the deepening sky, Enoch's words still whisper to us, death is a doorway, not a wall. Beyond it waits a justice truer than earth has ever known, and a joy deeper than life's brightest moments. The ancient vision still offers comfort when we stand at the edge of mystery, facing what waits beyond the light we know. The second death and eternal fire. A storm breaks over ancient hills. Lightning splits the sky like cracks in the world itself. In firelit caves, scribes record Enoch's darkest visions, warnings of judgment that would shape how many faiths picture final justice. The Book of Enoch doesn't flinch from describing what waits for those who choose darkness over light. Its vivid imagery of punishment would later influence Jewish, Christian, and Islamic views of hell. These aren't easy visions to bear, but they form part of Enoch's legacy across time. I saw a deep valley burning with fire, Enoch tells us. This place of flame appears repeatedly in his visions, a realm where those who rejected mercy find none waiting for them. The text calls this the second death, not merely the body's end, but something deeper and more final. What's striking about Enoch's vision of judgment is how it balances cosmic scales. Those who cause suffering now feel it. Those who showed no mercy receive none. Those who love darkness dwell in it forever. The punishment fits the crime with perfect justice that no earthly court could match. Angels with whips of fire drive the condemned to their fate in these ancient pages. These aren't demons, but agents of divine justice, carrying out sentences against those who harmed others without remorse. Much later, Dante would draw on these images for his Inferno, picturing circles of hell where punishment mirrors sin. The condemned walk a bridge over an abyss in one haunting passage. Those who live justly cross safely. Those weighed down by evil deeds fall into rivers of fire below. This image of a judgment bridge would later appear in Islamic traditions about the Sirat, a crossing as thin as a hair over hellfire. Unlike later medieval visions of torture chambers, Enoch's view of punishment has purpose. It's not suffering for its own sake, but the natural result of choices made in life. Those who built walls between themselves and others find themselves walled off from light. Those who burned with hatred now burn in a more literal sense. The kings and the mighty face special torment in these visions. Their power can't save them. Their wealth buys no comfort. Those who cause the most harm through their actions face the harshest judgment, a warning that echoes through history to all who hold authority over others. In one striking passage, the condemned see paradise, but cannot reach it. They watch the joy of the righteous from afar, adding regret to their suffering. What hurts most isn't physical pain, but clear vision, seeing at last what might have been, what they lost through their own choices. Time itself works differently in these realms of punishment. What feels like eternity may not be. Some passages hint at eventual mercy, fire that cleanses rather than just destroys. Later readers would debate fiercely whether Enoch's eternal fire truly means never-ending torment or something else. The Book of Enoch doesn't delight in these visions of judgment. They come with sorrow, with warning, with pleading for humans to choose better paths while they still can. The text repeats again and again that these fates can be avoided through righteous living, through mercy shown to others. What makes these passages powerful isn't just fear, but their promise of perfect justice. In a world where the wicked often prosper and the good suffer, Enoch promises that the final accounting sets all things right. No evil deed goes unseen. No harm done to others fades from the cosmic record. Rivers of fire flow in these visions, but so do rivers of mercy. Darkness has its realm, but it cannot overcome light. Evil has its moment, but not the final word. Even in its darkest passages, Enoch's message holds seeds of hope, that creation moves toward justice through all its long unwinding. The storm passes. Rain washes the hills clean. The scribes complete their work, recording visions both bright and dark. Enoch's words would echo through centuries, shaping how countless people face the great questions. How should we live? What waits beyond death? Will justice come at last? As dawn breaks over ancient lands, the message remains: our choices matter. They echo beyond the brief span of our days. What we build with our lives, whether walls or bridges, prisons or gardens, follows us into realms where all things hidden come to light at last. Enoch the astronomer. The stars have always watched us. Long before we built tools to study them, they guided our ships, marked our seasons, and filled our stories. But few knew their secrets like Enoch did. In a forgotten part of his book lies something strange, not just stories of angels or visions of judgment, but careful notes about the sky. We call it the astronomical book, and it shows us a side of Enoch we rarely talk about. Enoch the Sky Watcher. This ancient text contains one of the oldest known calendars, not simple markings of days, but a complete system for tracking time. Enoch wrote down how the sun moves through 12 gates in the sky. He counted the days of each month with care. He tracked the moon's light as it grows and shrinks. The astronomical book wasn't just idle stargazing. For Enoch, the sky was God's perfect clock. Every sunrise, every phase of the moon showed divine order. When celestial bodies moved in their paths, they proved God's laws held firm. But when they strayed, it meant trouble below. Unlike our modern calendar with its neat 12 months, Enoch's system followed a solar year of 364 days, not the 365 and a quarter we use today. This wasn't a mistake, it was by design. A year of 364 days breaks down into 4 seasons of exactly 13 weeks each. Perfect, clean, divine. This matters more than you might think. In Enoch's world, a perfect calendar meant perfect worship. The right prayers on the right days, the right feasts at the right times, a holy rhythm that matched heaven's beat. But Enoch noticed something that troubled him. The lunar year, based on the moon's cycles, didn't match his solar year. The two would drift apart over time. Some groups followed the moon, others the sun. Their holy days fell on different dates. For Enoch, this wasn't just a small problem of timing. It struck at the heart of faith itself. How could God's people worship together if they couldn't agree when to worship? How could they follow divine law if they couldn't agree which day was holy? The astronomical book warns about those who err by following the moon. Strong words. For Enoch, wrong dates meant wrong worship, and wrong worship broke the covenant with God. We find clues here about real fights in Enoch's time. The temple priests in Jerusalem argued about which calendar to follow. Some stuck to older moon-based ways. Others pushed for the sun-based system Enoch favored. These weren't just dry debates among scholars. They shaped when people fasted, feasted, and prayed. Enoch's star wisdom goes deeper than just tracking days. He maps the paths of stars and planets. He notes how they rise and set in different places as seasons change. For each month, he records how long days and nights should be, down to exact portions of hours. This isn't the work of a dreamer, but of a watcher, someone who sat night after night, counting and measuring, someone who saw patterns where others saw only scattered lights, someone who believed that in those patterns lived the mind of God. Some scholars think the astronomical book might be the oldest part of Enoch's writings. Its roots could reach back to the 3rd century BCE, maybe even earlier. Long before modern tools, Enoch and his kind built a science of the sky using only their eyes and their patience. What strikes us most is how Enoch binds together what we now keep apart. For him, studying stars wasn't separate from studying scripture. The same mind that tracked planets also received visions. The same eyes that measured moonlight also glimpsed heaven's throne. In our world, we split these things, science here, faith there, astronomy in one room, theology in another. But Enoch knew no such walls. The math of the cosmos and the mercy of God were threads in the same cloth. Think of him on those ancient nights. No light but the stars, no tools but his eyes, counting days, tracking phases, filling clay tablets or papyrus sheets with careful marks, not knowing his notes would last thousands of years, not guessing we would still study them when our own tools could spot galaxies he never dreamed of. The astronomical book reminds us that Enoch was not just a mystic who saw visions. He was a thinker who built systems. Not just a prophet who spoke God's words, but a student who read God's skywriting. His calendar didn't last. His stargates aren't on our maps, but his hunger to find order in the vastness above that lives on in every observatory, in every chart of the stars, in every attempt to place our tiny lives within cosmic time. When we look up on clear nights, we stand where Enoch stood, under the same stars, asking the same basic questions. How does it all work? What does it all mean? How do these distant lights speak to our brief lives below? For Enoch, the answers came through patient watching, night after night, season after season, the kind of deep looking that turns into wisdom, the kind of wisdom that connects earth to heaven, the kind of connection that turns a man like Enoch into something more than human. Next time you see the moon wax full, then wane to nothing, think of him. The man who counted its phases and found in them not just a clock, but a key to God's order. The man who knew that true worship meant watching not just with faith, but with care and precision. The man who saw in each sunrise not just light, but law. Mapping heaven, the angel Uriel as tour guide. Imagine being taken by the hand and led through the cosmos, not by a friend or teacher, but by a being of pure light. This was Enoch's fate when the angel Uriel became his guide to heaven's secrets. Uriel means light of God or fire of God. Among the angels, he stands out as the keeper of wisdom, the master of cosmic truths. Of all heaven's beings, Uriel was chosen to show Enoch how the universe works. Their journey begins at the edge of our world. Uriel points to the sun and tells Enoch to watch closely. The sun doesn't just rise and set by chance. It moves through gates in the dome of the sky. 6 gates in the east where it rises, 6 gates in the west where it sets. Look, Uriel might have said. In summer, the sun uses the northmost gates. In winter, the southmost ones. This is why days grow long, then short, then long again. Simple facts to us, but deep truths to Enoch. Each gate marked not just a place, but a time, a season, a call to plant or harvest, a day to fast or feast. The sun's path told humans when to act and when to wait. But Uriel showed more than just the sun's road. He mapped the winds, 4 great winds from 4 gates, each with its own task. winds that brought heat or cold, winds that carried rain or kept it away, winds that blessed crops or cursed them with drought. Pay heed, Uriel might have warned. When these winds stray from their gates, trouble comes to earth. They must keep their proper paths, just as humans must keep God's law. In Enoch's cosmos, nothing moves by chance. Each star has its place, each planet its path. The whole sky turns like a great wheel around God's throne. When things shift from their set course, it's not a mere change in weather, it's a crack in creation itself. One of the strangest parts of Uriel's tour comes when he shows Enoch where stars go to die. Yes, in this ancient view, stars can sin just like humans. Stars that break God's law are cast down into a deep pit. There they burn, but give no light. They suffer, but no one sees their flames. The stars you no longer see in the sky, Uriel explains, were not just snuffed out. They were judged, cast out. They serve now as signs of what happens to those who stray from sacred paths. This strange idea, fallen stars as fallen angels, blurs the line between science and spirit. For Enoch, there was no such line. The physical laws of the cosmos and the moral laws for humans flowed from the same source, broken the same way, were fixed by the same hand. As the tour goes on, Uriel shows Enoch 12 great mountains made of precious stones. These aren't hills you could climb on earth. They're the pillars that hold up heaven's dome, made of gold and silver, ruby and jade, the bones of the universe, dressed in light. Then come the great waters, not just seas we sail, but cosmic oceans above and below the world. Waters held back by God's word alone. The same waters that once broke loose in Noah's flood. The same waters that could end all things if God willed it. These are not just waters, Uriel might have said. They are God's judgment, held in check for now. Respect them as you would respect the edge of a great cliff. Through it all, Enoch writes down what he sees. Not sketching maps as we would, but noting paths and times and seasons. His book becomes a traveler's guide to places no human eye has seen. What strikes us most about Uriel's tour is how it mixes what we'd now call astronomy with pure vision. The same passages that track the moon's phases also count the ranks of angels. The same words that map the sun's path also mark the roads to paradise and punishment. For Enoch and Uriel, the stars were more than burning gas. They were living lights. The wind was more than moving air. It was the breath of purpose. The gates of the sky were real doors that opened and closed by divine plan. In our time, we've split these views. Science peers through telescopes, while faith looks through scripture. But in Enoch's world, the book of nature and the book of God told one story in different words. Uriel's name hints at his role, light of God. He brings light not just as brightness, but as knowing, as seeing what was hidden. He shows Enoch not just how things move, but why they matter. Their journey takes them to the edges of the world, to places where light and dark are born, to the storerooms where God keeps snow and hail, waiting to be used as weapons or blessings, to the very throne from which God rules both atoms and angels. Through Uriel's eyes, Enoch sees that the cosmos is not vast and empty as we might think. It's packed with purpose, filled with eyes that watch and hands that guide. There are no dead spaces in this universe, no places where God's law doesn't reach. When the tour ends, Enoch returns to Earth, but he's no longer just a man who walks the ground. He's become a man who knows the sky's secrets, a man who has seen the gears and levers of creation, a man who understands that each sunrise is not just light breaking through, but a door swinging open. The maps he brings back aren't drawn on paper. They're written in words that mix fact and vision, science and song. They tell us not just where things are in space, but what they mean in God's plan. Today's maps mark roads and rivers. Enoch's map marked moral paths through the stars. Today's science measures light years and orbits. Enoch's wisdom measured the distance between human acts and divine will. And at the center of this cosmic map stands Uriel, the angel of light who shows that true seeing isn't just about sharp eyes. It's about an open heart, a mind ready to find meaning in each star's path, each season's turn, each gate that opens to let God's light through. When we look up at night now, we might name stars and planets, count light years and chart orbits. But Enoch would ask, do you see the gates? Do you know the paths? Can you read in these lights the laws that bind not just matter, but souls? The firmament and the abyss. Between earth and stars stretches a vast blue dome. We call it sky. Enoch called it the firmament, not just empty space, but a solid barrier, a wall between our world and what lies beyond. In Enoch's cosmos, this dome wasn't made of nothing. It was real, firm. You could touch it if you flew high enough, made of crystal waters frozen hard by God's word, a ceiling above our heads, a floor beneath heaven's feet. As Enoch's journey with Uriel goes deeper, we see a universe built in layers, like a house with many floors. Earth sits at the bottom. The firmament forms the first ceiling. Above that dwell the stars and planets. Higher still, the angels' realm, and at the very top, God's throne room. This wasn't just how Enoch saw things. It was how most ancient people pictured the world. Not a planet spinning in space, but a flat place with depths below and heights above. A middle ground between the highest good and the lowest dark. Uriel shows Enoch the edges of this world disk, places where the firmament meets the ground. There stand great pillars that hold up the sky, mountains so high they pierce the dome. Their peaks touch realms no living human sees. These are the posts of heaven, Uriel might have said, the joints where God's upper world meets man's lower one. At these edges, Enoch sees rivers of fire. Not like our streams that flow with water. These flow with light itself, with raw power that feeds the stars. These rivers don't run down to the sea. They run up to God's throne. Then Uriel points downward. Below Earth's crust lies another realm. Not heaven, but its dark twin. The abyss, a place of shadow and cold, of empty winds and starless night. Here dwell the souls awaiting judgment. Here burn the fallen stars, giving heat but no light. The abyss has its own gates, its own guards, its own laws. Not a place of pure evil, as later views would paint it. More like a waiting room for the lost, a pause between life and final fate. This map of all that is, from abyss to throne, shows more than just places. It shows ranks of being. Earth sits in the middle, not by chance but by design. Humans dwell at the crossroads of all realms, not the highest beings, not the lowest, but the ones who must choose which way to look. Up toward light, or down toward dark. As Uriel leads on, the tour grows stranger still. Enoch sees the birthplace of wind and rain, not clouds as we know them, but vast storerooms, chambers built into the firmament itself. God keeps weather there like weapons in an armory, ready to bless the righteous with gentle rain or curse the wicked with storms. See there, Uriel points, the gates where hail waits, and there where snow piles high, all held back by God's word, all ready to fall when he speaks. Then come the strangest sights of all. Mountains unlike any on earth, some made of dark mist that never clears, some built of fire that never goes out, some formed from crystals that catch and bend heaven's light. These aren't places you could mark on any map. They exist between the worlds we know. Neither fully in heaven nor quite on earth, bridges between what we see and what we seek. Through it all runs a single theme: order. Nothing in Enoch's cosmos happens by chance. No star moves without purpose. No wind blows without aim. The whole vast house of being follows a plan set down before time began. This vision of cosmic order gave comfort in a world that often felt like chaos. When kings warred and nations fell, Enoch could look up and see God's hand still guiding the stars. When famine struck or disease spread, he could trust that even these dark times fit a pattern too vast for humans to grasp. But the cosmos Enoch maps isn't frozen in place. It moves, breathes, lives. Stars are born and stars die. Winds rise and winds calm. The gates of heaven open to let divine will through. The pits of the abyss yawn to swallow what falls from grace. It's a living house, a breathing world. Not a machine that runs without mind, but a garden tended by its maker's hand. Perhaps the strangest part of Enoch's cosmic tour comes when he sees the very edge of things, the place where being meets nothing, where God's word has shaped reality, and beyond which lies only void. Here stand angels whose task never ends. They maintain the boundary between what is and what isn't. They repair any crack in the world's shell. They make sure chaos never leaks into order. As long as they stand watch, Uriel explains, the world remains whole. Should they fail, all would fall back into the void from which God called it. This edge place shows Enoch something few texts dare suggest. That creation isn't just a past event, but an ongoing act. God doesn't just make the world once and step back. Divine power keeps holding back nothing, making room for something, with each passing breath. Near this edge, Enoch sees one more wonder. The very walls of the universe are not made of stone or metal, but of light itself. pure light, folded and shaped by God's word. Light so bright it would blind human eyes, light that doesn't just shine, but sings. The singing walls mark the final boundary of Enoch's journey. Beyond them, even angels fear to go. Beyond them lies only God's direct presence, too pure, too raw for any created being to face. As Uriel leads Enoch back toward the human world, the angel gives one last lesson. The cosmos they've mapped isn't just out there in space, it lives within each human heart as well. The same gates that open in the sky, Uriel says, open in the soul. The same rivers that flow through heaven flow through human hope. The same abyss that waits below the world waits within each choice to turn from light. With these words, Enoch's cosmic tour becomes more than strange geography. It becomes a map of moral space. Each human life mirrors the vast creation. Each soul contains the same war between light and dark, order and chaos. When Enoch returns to human lands, he brings back more than star charts or weather signs. He brings a vision that places human life at the heart of cosmic drama, not lost in vast space, not crushed by endless time, but standing where heaven and earth, light and dark, meet and mingle. The firmament above and the abyss below aren't just places out there, they mark the heights to which we might rise, the depths to which we might fall, the walls that both limit and protect our brief, bright lives. Dream visions are the animal apocalypse. Dreams speak in strange tongues. They show truth through masks. In the Book of Enoch, dreams aren't just night thoughts. They're divine keys that unlock the past and future. Among these dreams, one stands out for its odd beauty. We call it the animal apocalypse. In this vision, human history plays out as a tale of beasts. People appear as animals, nations as herds, great leaders as horned rams or mighty bulls. The vision comes to Enoch in deep sleep. He sees the first man, Adam, emerge as a white bull. Eve walks beside him as a heifer. Their sons take different forms, Abel as a sheep, Cain as a black bull. When Cain kills his brother, it's shown as a bull goring a sheep. As human generations grow, the animal types shift and change. The line of Seth, Adam's third son, appears as white bulls. But something strange happens. These bulls begin to birth elephants, camels, and donkeys, different beasts for different nations. The children of Israel stay as bulls, but other tribes take new shapes. Then comes the flood. Noah stands as a white bull warning the herds. The waters rise. Only those who heed his call survive. After the flood, the bull Noah fathers 3 bulls, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. From them come all the beasts of the new world. The dream shifts to Abraham, shown as a white bull who fathers Isaac, another white bull. Isaac fathers Jacob, who starts as a bull but transforms into something new, a sheep. With this change, the chosen line takes a new form. No longer mighty bulls, but humble sheep. The children of Israel multiply as a flock. They travel to Egypt, where wolves, the Egyptians, enslave them. Moses appears as a sheep who becomes like a man. He leads the flock out from the wolves' land. As they cross the sea, the wolves drown in pursuit. At Mount Sinai, the sheep Moses speaks with the Lord. He comes down changed, now part sheep, part man, marking how divine law lifts humans above beast nature. The flock enters its promised land, but soon the sheep grow blind. They stray from right paths. They forget the words given on the mountain. They wander into dark places where wolves and foxes, the Gentile nations, tear at their flesh. Kings rise among the sheep. Some try to lead the flock back to safe fields. Most fail. The sheep build a house, the temple, but they fill it with impure acts. The Lord of the sheep grows angry. He lets wild beasts surround the flock. Lions and tigers, bears and wolves close in. Then come the great empires as mighty beasts of prey, Assyria as lions, Babylon as eagles. Each takes its turn tearing at the flock. The house falls, the sheep scatter, some are eaten, some are led away in chains. This part of the vision shows Israel's fall to foreign powers, the destruction of the first temple, the exile to Babylon, dark days when it seemed the flock might be lost forever. But the dream doesn't end in despair. The Lord raises up shepherds to watch the sheep, angels who stand guard over the flock in exile. Not all these shepherds are good. Some let too many sheep be taken by wolves. Some even help the predators. For this, they face judgment. A strange moment comes when Enoch sees a book. In it, the Lord counts how many sheep should live and how many may be lost. There's a plan, even in the suffering, a count kept by divine hands. The flock returns to its land. They build a new house, the second temple. But this house isn't like the first. It's smaller, plainer, and many sheep still wander blind. Then comes a time of horned rams, the Maccabees who fought Greek rule. They drive back eagles and ravens that threaten the flock. For a brief time, the sheep know peace. They follow true paths again. But the strangest part of the vision comes at its end. A great ram rises with a mighty horn. This is no ordinary leader. This ram stands against all the beasts of prey, not just one nation, but all that oppress. As this ram fights, something amazing happens. The sheep begin to change. Their eyes open, their wool turns white, their nature shifts. They become rams too, with horns to defend themselves. The prey becomes like the defender. Then comes the final sign. A great bull with black legs emerges. All beasts flee from his path. All sheep, now turned to rams, bow before him. This isn't just a king or prophet. This is the Messiah figure coming to transform the world. When this bull appears, the old order ends. Wolves lie down with sheep. Lions eat grass like oxen. Predator and prey find peace. The whole animal kingdom, all nations and peoples, join as one flock under one shepherd. The animal apocalypse draws on symbols that spoke clearly to ancient readers. Bulls meant power and kingship. Sheep meant the common people or the faithful. Predators stood for nations that conquered and oppressed. The shift from one animal form to another showed how nations rose and fell, how divine favor moved through history. What makes this vision so striking is how it packs all human history into a single dream. From creation to final judgment, the whole story unfolds as a tale of beasts. Yet the beasts act with human choice. They choose right or wrong paths. They build temples. They read laws. They aren't just animals, but people in animal form. This strange code, humans as animals. Let Enoch speak hard truths in safer terms. When real kings and powers threaten the faithful, direct words could mean death. But dreams of bulls and sheep, these could pass from hand to hand, warning and giving hope without naming names. The animal apocalypse shows another side of Enoch's thought, not just the mystic who tours heaven, but the teacher who reads meaning in history. Not just the star counter who tracks cosmic law, but the prophet who sees God's hand in human rise and fall. For all its strange beasts, the vision tells a simple truth. History isn't random. Nations don't rise and fall by chance. Through all the turning of power, a divine plan unfolds. The scattered sheep will one day come home. The predators will one day lose their teeth. The world will one day find the peace it was made for. This dream spoke hope to a people who often lived without it. Jews under foreign rule. Faithful ones watching their temple be defiled. Common folk crushed between mighty empires. To them, the animal apocalypse whispered, "The Lord still watches the flock. The count of souls is known in heaven. The day comes when prey no longer fears predator." In times of peace, such dreams might seem strange fancy, but in dark days, when real wolves howled at the door, Enoch's animals spoke more truth than any plain history could tell. Dream Visions 2, The Great White Bull. The dream continues. The beasts still speak their silent tales, but now the vision shifts toward its end, toward hope after long dark. As the animal apocalypse reaches its final scenes, a figure appears that stops all others in their tracks. A great white bull with huge black horns. Power flows from him like light. When he calls, all beasts, prey and predator alike, turn their heads to listen. This is no common king or prophet. This is the Messiah figure, the one who comes at the end of days to make all things new. In some Jewish texts, he's called the Son of David. In others, the Anointed One. Here in Enoch's dream, he takes the form first given to Adam, a white bull, but greater still. When this white bull walks onto the field of history, change ripples out from his steps. The sheep who had turned to rams now shift again. They become white bulls like him. They match the form of the first man before sin stained the world. They return to the shape that God first blessed. This isn't just a change of form, but of nature. The faithful don't just look different, they become different. Their eyes fully open, their hearts fully clean, their strength fully grown. They take on the nature of the one they follow. Even stranger, the predators change too. Lions and bears, wolves and foxes, all the beasts that hunted the flock lay down their hunger. They join the bulls and sheep in a new kind of herd, one where old hates die, where ancient hurts heal, where the blood debt of ages finds its final payment. They all became white bulls, Enoch writes, not just the already faithful, but all creatures great and small. a universal shift that leaves no being untouched. At the center stands that first white bull. All eyes turn to him, all hearts beat with his rhythm. He doesn't rule by fear, as the predators did. He doesn't cower as the sheep once did. He leads by being what all others are meant to become. This vision of the great white bull shows us something key about Enoch's hope. He didn't just long for his people to win some cosmic war. He hoped for a peace where old battle lines fade, where even former enemies find a place at the table. The great white bull doesn't destroy the wolves and bears. He transforms them. He doesn't just save the sheep. He elevates them. His coming means not the end of the world, but its rebirth. As this part of the dream closes, Enoch sees one more wonder. The great white bull himself changes form. He becomes a wild ox with great black horns, power upon power, might upon might. Not just a leader, but the very shape of holy strength. All the herds rejoice at this sight. All beasts bow low. They sing a new kind of song, not the bleats of sheep or roars of lions, but a unified voice. The voice of creation finally finding the harmony it was made for. This dream within a dream tells us much about how Enoch viewed the end times. Not as a final war where the good destroy the evil, but as a final peace where even the evil find their way home. Not a scrapping of the old world, but its healing. The great white bull embodies aspects that later traditions would split among different figures. He has the majesty of a divine judge, the power of a perfect king, the cleaning force of a high priest, the wisdom of a true prophet, all in one form, all in one being. For early readers, this vision spoke straight to hearts sore from war and loss. Jews who had seen their temple fall, their cities burn, their children taken as slaves. To them, the promise of a great white bull who would make all things right wasn't just comfort. It was the only hope strong enough to match their pain. We find echoes of this white bull in later texts. The book of Daniel speaks of one like a son of man coming with the clouds. The book of Revelation tells of a rider on a white horse whose name is Faithful and True. Different images, same promise. One will come who sets all things right. But Enoch's bull brings something these later visions sometimes lack: universal hope. Not just some saved while others burn, not just the faithful rewarded while sinners suffer, but all beings changed, all forms made new, a cosmos not divided between heaven and hell, but united in one peaceful herd. This kind of hope can seem too simple now, too clean for a world we know is messy, too complete for hearts we know stay broken. But perhaps that's exactly why Enoch's dream has lasted. It dares to hope beyond what seems possible, to trust beyond what seems wise. The great white bull stands as Enoch's answer to the hardest question faith can ask. Will it all be worth it? Will the long pain of history find meaning? Will the countless tears find purpose? Will the blood of martyrs and the ash of temples somehow bloom into something beautiful? Enoch's answer shines clear. Yes, 1,000 times yes. All tears wiped away, all wounds healed, all divides bridged. Not by human hands, but by divine ones. Not in our time, but in God's. Some scholars think this part of Enoch might have shaped early Christian views of Jesus, the white bull who changes all who follow him, the one who makes former enemies into family, the figure whose very presence transforms the world's nature. Others see links to Jewish hopes for a Messiah who would restore David's throne and rebuild the temple. The mighty ox whose strength would break the yoke of Rome and all oppressors. Still others find hints of Persian thought, the final battle between light and dark, the ultimate triumph of good that pulls even evil back into the light. Whatever its roots, the vision of the great white bull offers hope both strange and simple. Strange in its talking beasts and shifting forms, simple in its promise that love wins, that peace comes, that God finishes what God starts. When we close the pages on Enoch's dream visions, we're left with images that haunt and heal. Bulls and sheep, wolves and lambs, predators and prey finding their way to a shared future, not through the victory of one side, but through the transformation of all sides. In our world of walls and wars, of tribes and threats, such dreams can seem like childish fantasy. But perhaps that's not weakness, but strength. Perhaps we need dreams too wild to fit our careful plans, hopes too vast to fit our narrow fears. The great white bull reminds us what hope looked like before it grew cautious, before it learned to settle for less, before it made peace with endless division. He stands in the field of history, calling all creatures to become what they were always meant to be, not through force, but through the sheer gravity of perfection, not through fear, but through the irresistible pull of love. And in that call, even now, beats the heart of Enoch's strangest, boldest dream, that one day, all bulls and bears, all sheep and wolves, all beings high and low might join a single herd, might share a single nature, might sing with a single voice the song creation was made to sing. Fallen stars and wandering planets. Night falls over the ancient world. Look up at the sky with me. Those points of light were more than just stars to our ancestors. They were living beings with purpose and will. In the Book of Enoch, stars aren't just balls of gas burning billions of miles away. They're sentient creatures with duties to perform, and some of them failed in their tasks. Enoch tells us of stars bound by chains, stars cast down from their homes in the sky, stars thrown into a deep, fiery abyss as punishment. These weren't just poetic images. They were part of a cosmic justice system where even the heavens must answer for their sins. In one striking vision, Enoch sees 7 stars like great burning mountains. Their crime? They failed to rise at their appointed times. For this, they're bound for 10,000 years. Think about what that means. In a world without clocks or calendars, the stars were how you told time. When a star didn't appear when expected, it wasn't just odd. It was a break in the divine order, a sign that something was deeply wrong. The planets, too, held special meaning. The word planet comes from the Greek for wanderer. Unlike stars that kept their places in the sky night after night, planets moved in strange paths. Sometimes they even seemed to stop and move backward. To Enoch and his readers, these weren't just cosmic bodies obeying the laws of gravity and motion. They were angels who had strayed from their paths, rebels against heaven's perfect design. When Uriel shows Enoch the prison for fallen stars, he describes it as a place chaotic and terrible, a void where light itself is punished with darkness. This is cosmic balance at work. Those made of light must face the absence of light as their judgment. But why would stars fall? In Enoch's view, some joined the rebellion of the Watchers. Like the angels who came to earth, these celestial beings had roles to play, stations to keep. Their wandering wasn't just physical, but moral. This view of stars and planets shaped how people read the night sky for centuries. A comet wasn't just a natural event. A blood moon wasn't just an eclipse. These were signs, warnings, messages from beyond. When Matthew's gospel tells of a star that guided wise men to Jesus, readers of Enoch would have understood. Stars could move with purpose. They could lead, guide, and reveal divine plans. And when Revelation speaks of stars falling to earth in the last days, it draws on this same cosmic vision. Stars aren't just distant points of light. They're part of the great drama of creation, fall, and redemption. Look up tonight at the night sky. Those pinpricks of light have stories to tell. Stories of duty and failure, of punishment and redemption. Stories written in the language of light and dark, motion and stillness. In Enoch's world, everything in creation had its proper place, its time to shine, its path to follow. And when something stepped out of line, whether angel, human, or star, the universe itself would work to set things right. The stars fell, but in their fall they teach us about our own paths, our own duties, our own need to stay true to the course set before us. For in Enoch's cosmos, nothing falls forever. Even the stars will one day be restored to their rightful place in the heavens. Enoch's heavenly scrolls. Words have power. They shape worlds. They outlive kings and empires. And in the Book of Enoch, words aren't just spoken. They're written down, kept, preserved in heavenly books that record all things. Enoch tells us of vast libraries in the sky, books that hold the deeds of all who've ever lived, books that track the paths of stars and the flights of birds, books that count each drop of rain that falls on earth. Nothing escapes these cosmic records. No whispered secret, no hidden thought, no deed done in darkness. All finds its place in what Enoch calls the tablets of heaven. When Enoch journeys through the cosmos, he meets angels whose sole task is to write. They are the scribes of eternity. With reed pens and scrolls of light, they note each human life, each joy and sorrow, each birth and death. The angel Uriel shows Enoch these records and tells him, nothing that happens on earth is hidden from these books. This isn't just about judgment, it's about memory, a universe that remembers all things. In one striking passage, Enoch himself becomes a scribe. The angels hand him a reed pen and ask him to write down what he's seen. For days he sits and writes, filling scroll after scroll with visions and warnings. This image of Enoch as heavenly scribe stuck in the minds of his readers. It's why later texts call him Enoch the scribe, why Jewish tradition names him as the inventor of writing itself. But there's more to these books than just records of the past. Enoch sees books that tell what's yet to come, books that map out the whole span of human history from first day to last. One book lists those who will be saved in the final days. Another counts each grain of dust that will burn in the fires of judgment. Another traces each tear that will be wiped away when all is made new. Think how this idea shaped those who came after. When the Psalms speak of your book in which all my days were recorded, they're speaking Enoch's language. When Daniel sees books opened at the final judgment, he's seeing what Enoch saw. And when Revelation tells of a book of life where the names of the saved are written, it builds on this same vision. A universe where nothing is lost, where every life matters enough to be written down. For those who first read Enoch, this was both comfort and warning. Comfort that their lives, often hard and short and seeming small, were noted by heaven itself. Warning that nothing they did could be hidden from these cosmic records. In times when literacy was rare, the idea of heavenly books held special power. If kings kept records of their reigns, why not God? If temples tracked offerings and debts, why not heaven itself? But these books aren't just about tracking or judging. They're about meaning. They tell us that our stories matter, that they fit into a larger tale that spans all of time and space. In a world that often feels random and cruel, Enoch offers a vision of cosmic order. Everything has its place in the great books of heaven. Every life is a chapter in the story God is writing across the stars. And though we may never see these books with mortal eyes, Enoch tells us they're there, waiting, recording, remembering, until the day when all books are opened and all stories find their end and their new beginning. The fractured universe. The ground shifts beneath your feet. The skies darken at noon. Rivers run dry or flood their banks. In Enoch's world, these weren't just natural events. They were signs of a universe out of joint, a creation straining under the weight of sin. Enoch sees the world as more than just matter and force. It's a living thing, bound by moral laws as much as physical ones. When those moral laws are broken, the very rocks and waters feel the pain. In his visions, angels show him how human sin ripples out through creation. The forbidden knowledge taught by the Watchers doesn't just corrupt human hearts. It tears at the fabric of reality itself. Look, says his angelic guide, pointing to a mountain split by a deep crack. This is where heaven's order was first broken, where angels left their proper place. The earth itself bears witness to their sin. Enoch sees earthquakes not as movements of tectonic plates, but as the groans of a wounded world. Floods are earth's tears, shed for the blood spilled upon her surface. Storms are creation's rage against those who harm it. This isn't just ancient superstition. It's a deep grasp of how all things connect, how moral and physical reality twine together like strands of a rope. Pull one, and the other moves too. When the Watchers teach humans to make weapons, to mine the earth for metals, to burn and cut and shape the natural world for their own ends, they aren't just passing on skills. They're teaching disrespect for the order laid down at creation's dawn. And the world feels it. Mountains tremble, seas rise up. The very stars burn with anger at what's been done below. The earth has become tilted on its axis, one angel tells Enoch. A stunning insight for an ancient text, as if the author sensed how the planet's tilt affects all life upon it. But in Enoch's vision, this tilt isn't just physical, it's moral. The world's been knocked off center by the weight of sin. Rain falls out of season, crops fail, animals turn on humans and on each other. The orderly cycles of nature break down as chaos spreads from human hearts to the wider world. In one striking passage, Enoch sees a future where the moon alters its course. The sun rises where it should set. The whole cosmos seems to run backward, as if in protest against what's happening on Earth. This vision of a fractured universe shapes how later writers see the world. When Isaiah speaks of a new heaven and new earth, he's building on Enoch's sense that this world has been broken and needs repair. When Jesus speaks of signs in the sun, moon, and stars before his return, he draws on this same tradition, a universe where physical signs point to spiritual truths, where heaven and earth mirror each other. But Enoch doesn't leave us with just a broken world. He offers hope that what's been fractured will be made whole. The same God who set the stars in their courses can reset them. The same hand that shaped the mountains can heal their scars. In the end, he tells us, there will be new heavens where the stars never set, and a new earth that bears fruit without curse or taint. A world made right again, a cosmos healed from core to edge. Until that day, we live in the break between what was and what will be, in a universe still groaning, as Paul would later put it, like a woman in the pains of childbirth, waiting for its time of healing to come. Secrets of the weather, mountains, and trees. Rain falls from clouds, wind blows from the north, trees grow from seeds. Simple facts we take for granted. But in Enoch's world, these natural processes held deeper secrets. Behind each drop of rain, each gust of wind, each budding leaf, stood angels carrying out God's will. The Book of Enoch opens a window into a world alive with purpose, where nothing happens by chance, where nature itself speaks a language, if only we knew how to listen. As Enoch travels with his angel guides, they show him the storehouses of snow and hail, waiting to be released in their seasons. They point to caverns where the winds rest until called forth. They reveal the invisible spirits that tend each growing thing. See those clouds, his guide asks, pointing to the horizon. They're not just water vapor. They're living beings carrying out tasks assigned to them before time began. This isn't primitive science. It's a way of seeing the sacred in the ordinary, the divine hand at work in each moment of our daily lives. Enoch learns about mountains, how they aren't just piles of rock, but pillars that hold up the sky. Some mountains in his vision reach all the way to heaven's gate. Others mark the bounds of human lands, set as borders no one should cross. One mountain of crystal shines with light day and night. Another burns with never-ending fire. A third flows with sweet nectar that feeds the flowers of the field. Each has its purpose, its role in the cosmic dance. Trees, too, hold special meaning in Enoch's vision. He sees a great tree whose fruit grants wisdom to those who eat it, echoing Eden's forbidden tree. He learns how each type of wood has its own spirit, its own voice that sings in the wind. In one striking passage, Enoch comes to a mountain garden where fragrant trees grow. Their scent is beyond all fragrance. Their leaves never fall. Their fruit never rots. This isn't just a pretty image. It's a glimpse of the world as it should be, as it once was, as it will be again. Weather patterns reveal heaven's moods in Enoch's cosmology. Thunder isn't just sound waves. It's the voice of angels calling to each other across the sky. Lightning isn't just electrical discharge. It's the flash of celestial swords as heaven's armies drill for the final battle. When rain falls in its proper season, it's a sign of God's pleasure with human deeds. When drought comes, it's because the rain angels hold back their gifts in sorrow over human sin. This view of nature shaped how people read the world for centuries. When Jesus calms a storm with a word, his followers see more than just control over weather. They see him speaking the language of those weather angels, commanding the spirits of wind and wave. When Revelation pictures trees whose leaves are for the healing of the nations, it draws on Enoch's sense that plants have roles beyond just feeding and sheltering us. They're partners in the great work of mending what's been broken. This isn't about worshiping nature. It's about seeing beyond nature to its source, about tracing each raindrop, each breeze, each leaf back to the hand that first set the world in motion. In our world of weather satellites and botanical encyclopedias, we can miss what Enoch saw. The wonder behind the science, the why behind the how, the face behind the mask of physical law. Look out your window, that tree stretching its branches toward the sky, that cloud casting its shadow on the hills, that wind rustling through the grass. In Enoch's world, they're more than what they seem. They're pages in the great book of creation, telling a story to those with eyes to see and ears to hear. Time, fate, and the cycles of history. Time flows like a river, but where does that river begin? Where does it end? And who charted its course from source to sea? These are the questions Enoch asks as angels guide him through heaven's halls. In one chamber, he sees giant turning wheels of light, cosmic clocks marking off the ages of Earth. In another, he finds books where each day of human history is written, from first light to final sunset. Time isn't what you think, his guide tells him. It doesn't just move forward, it moves in cycles, like the seasons, like the stars in their courses. What has been will be again. What is coming has already been. This view of time shapes all of Enoch's visions. He doesn't just see the past or glimpse the future. He sees how they're bound together, how they echo and mirror each other across the vast spans of history. Through angelic eyes, Enoch learns that time has texture. Some moments are thin, where heaven and earth barely touch. Others are thick with meaning, where the veil between worlds grows so thin that angels walk among men. He sees how human history divides into ages, not by chance, but by design. Each age has its purpose, its lesson to teach, its part in the great story God is telling through time. First came the age of creation and wonder, when the world was new and humans walked with God in the cool of the day. Then the age of growth and fall, when knowledge increased, but wisdom failed. Next came Enoch's own age, a time of both great evil and great revelation, when angels fell, but heaven opened its secrets to those with eyes to see. Beyond his own time, Enoch sees the age of cleansing flood, then the age of covenant and law, then times of kings and prophets, of exile and return, and far beyond those ages he glimpses what's to come. An age when heaven's king walks earth in human form, an age of spreading light, an age of growing darkness, and finally an age of judgment and renewal, when time's river reaches the sea of eternity. This isn't just about mapping history, it's about finding meaning in its patterns, about seeing that nothing happens by chance, that all things work together toward an end only heaven can fully see. In one striking vision, Enoch sees time as a vast loom. Angels weave the threads of human lives and choices into a tapestry whose full pattern only God can see. We glimpse just our small corner of the design, but each thread matters. Each life adds color and texture to the whole. This vision of time as both fixed and flowing shapes how later writers see history. When Daniel maps out the rise and fall of empires, he builds on Enoch's cosmic timetable. When John in Revelation speaks of what must soon take place, he stands in this same tradition. For those who first read Enoch, this view of time brought both comfort and challenge. Comfort that their brief lives fit into a larger plan. Challenge to live as if each moment matters to heaven itself. In a world that often felt random and cruel, Enoch offered a glimpse behind the curtain, a sense that history's seeming chaos hid a deeper order, that time's river, for all its twists and rapids, flows toward a sea already known to God. Today, we tend to see time as either an arrow shooting forward or a cycle endlessly repeating. Enoch suggests it's both, a spiral moving both forward and around, each turn both new and familiar, each age both fresh and echoing what came before. Look back at your own life, at the patterns that repeat, at the moments that changed everything. In Enoch's view, none of it is random. All of it matters. All of it weaves into a story bigger than any single life, yet incomplete without each one. Time flows on. The wheels of heaven turn. The loom of ages weaves its pattern thread by thread, life by life. And though we see through a glass darkly now, Enoch promises a day when time's full meaning will stand revealed, when we'll see not just our small part of the pattern, but the whole tapestry in all its glory. The Epistle of Enoch. The air grows still as we turn to the final section of Enoch's ancient text. Here in these worn pages, the old patriarch speaks directly to us across time, not as a mystical seer of heaven's halls, but as a father worried for his children's future. The epistle marks a shift in tone. Gone are the wild visions of stars and angels. Instead, we find a man looking at the world around him with clear eyes. His words carry weight, urgent warnings about the path ahead. Enoch speaks of two ways, the path of good and the road to ruin. He doesn't mince words about what awaits those who choose poorly. The wicked, he warns, will find no peace. Their names erased, their works forgotten. It's not a threat, but a sad truth he's glimpsed beyond the veil, yet hope runs through his words too. The just will find their reward. Light waits for those who walk straight paths. In the end, he tells us, truth wins out. What makes the epistle stand apart is how it bridges two worlds. It speaks both to Enoch's time and to ours. The warnings about greed, lies, and the abuse of power still ring true today. Scholars note how the epistle seems pulled from a deeper past. Its style echoes the old wisdom books, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, yet it reaches forward too, with hints of what would later bloom in Christian and Jewish ethics. Enoch's words to his son Methuselah feel strangely modern. Put these words to your heart. Know that every work of man is weighed. In our age of quick fixes and faster profits, his call to think beyond our short lives cuts deep. The epistle draws on older roots. In it, we hear traces of the two ways teaching, a moral path common across ancient cultures. Choose life or death, light or dark, the way up or the way down. The choice, Enoch says, is always ours. What strikes readers most is the raw emotion. This isn't dry preaching. It's a man who's seen through the veil of time, watched the great wheel of years turn, and come back shaken by what awaits. His voice trembles with the weight of knowing too much. The text flows with vivid warnings. Woe to those who build their homes on lies. Woe to those who twist justice. Woe to those who cheat their neighbors. Each woe lands like a hammer on stone, echoing across centuries. Between these stark warnings lie gems of hope. The paths of peace shall be known to the righteous. Wisdom flows like water for those who thirst for truth. These aren't just pretty words. They're lifelines thrown to readers drowning in troubled times. When Enoch speaks of the books of the living, he taps into a deep well of human longing. We all want to matter, to be remembered. The epistle promises that good deeds aren't lost in time's flow. They're written down, counted, and saved. In its final passages, the epistle shifts focus, from personal goodness to cosmic justice, from daily choices to final outcomes. The scope widens, and suddenly we're back in that grand Enochian vista, where human lives play out against the backdrop of eternity. This isn't just another sermon, it's the final testament of a man who walked with God and lived to tell about it. The week of ages. Time unfolds like a scroll in Enoch's hands, not as endless moments ticking by, but as a story with clear chapters. A week of ages, 7 great days in the life of the world. This vision of time shaped how countless believers would see history, not as random events, but as a plan unfolding step by step toward a final goal. The first day in this cosmic week, creation blooms. Adam walks the garden. The world is young and full of hope. The second day, sin enters the story. The bright beginning dims. Humans turn from God's path and find thorns where flowers once grew. The third day, Abraham hears a voice in the night, a promise made, a people chosen to carry light through dark ages. The covenant takes root. The fourth day, Moses leads slaves to freedom, law etched in stone. The desert becomes a classroom where a nation learns to walk with God. The fifth day, kings and prophets, temples rise. The chosen people find their voice, their land, their destiny. But shadows gather at the edges. The sixth day, exile and return. Hard lessons learned in foreign lands. The temple rebuilt, but smaller now. Hope mixed with sorrow, waiting for what comes next. The seventh day, rest and reward for those who kept faith. A Sabbath for the world after its long labor. In some readings, this becomes the messianic age, when wrongs are righted and peace flows like a river. But Enoch's vision doesn't stop there. Beyond the 7 days waits an 8th day, a new beginning outside of time itself, the eternal morning after the long week of history. This pattern echoes through religious thought. We find it in Jewish mysticism, in early Christian writings, in medieval monks charting time's flow. Each borrows from Enoch's powerful image, history as a week with purpose. For the anxious listener in ancient times, this offered comfort. The troubles of today fit within a larger plan. The story has an author. The pain makes sense within the plot. Each age in Enoch's week carries its own flavor, its own task. No era lasts forever. Change comes, ready or not. But through it all runs a golden thread of meaning. History isn't just one thing after another. It's a story moving toward its final chapter. Modern readers might smile at such neat packaging of time's mess. Our view of history tends toward chaos theory. Small causes, vast effects, no master plan. Yet something in us still responds to Enoch's week of ages. We want time to make sense. We hope our chapter matters to the larger story. What's most striking is how this ancient text got so much right. It saw history as both cyclical and moving forward. It understood that eras have character, defining events that shape everything after. It knew that time feels different depending where you stand in its flow. When Enoch writes that one day with God is as 1,000 years, he taps into time's strange elasticity. Clock time versus soul time, the gap between how we measure moments and how we experience them. In dark times, the week of ages brought hope. This too shall pass. In proud times, it brought humility. Your day is just one of 7. For a people living under foreign boots, Romans, Babylonians, Greeks, the message rang clear. Tyrants are just a passing cloud in God's long sky. The 7 Ages framework still shapes how many see the world today, from doomsday prophets counting signs to ordinary folks sensing an era's end. We borrow Enoch's lens without knowing its source. Perhaps most powerful is the promise of the 8th day. After all the striving, a new start awaits. After the full week of human struggle comes something else entirely, something better than mere rest, a new creation. Final fate of souls. What happens when we die? This question haunts every human heart. In Enoch's vision, death isn't the end, but a doorway. His answer unfolds across vivid scenes, souls gathered in vast holding places, waiting for the final day. Not one fate for all, but many rooms in death's house. The righteous find sweet rest in chambers of light. Their souls glow like lamps in a quiet room. They wait in peace, held in soft darkness like seeds before spring. For others, darker halls await. Souls of the wicked know no peace. They wander through shadows, already tasting the judgment to come. Not torture, not yet, but the growing weight of truth. Between these clear fates lie countless shades of gray. Those who stumbled but tried. Those who did wrong but made amends. Those who never heard wisdom's call at all. For these, Enoch sees middle chambers, places of waiting and growth. What makes Enoch's vision so striking is its blend of justice and mercy. No one escapes the scales of truth. Yet, no fate is sealed until the final day dawns. Hope lingers even in death's halls. The text speaks of deep valleys where souls await judgment, of books where all deeds are written, of angels who guide the newly dead to their proper place. These images would later shape how countless people picture the afterlife. Enoch doesn't just tell us what happens after death, he shows us why it matters now. Each choice we make adds weight to our soul. Each kindness or cruelty shapes who we'll be when our body falls away. For ancient readers, this wasn't abstract theology, it was urgent news. Your brief life casts a long shadow, your choices echo beyond the grave. Nothing is lost or forgotten in the eyes watching from beyond time. The soul's journey doesn't end at death. Enoch describes a complex process: review, rest, and preparation. Some souls need cleaning, like gold in fire. Others shine already, needing only to wait for the new world's dawn. 4 dwelling places appear in Enoch's vision. 1 for the righteous dead, bright as midday. 1 for sinners who weren't punished in life, a place of reckoning. 1 for souls whose bodies were denied proper burial, a special mercy for them. And 1 for those who straddled the line between good and evil, not wholly lost, not wholly saved. Modern readers might see echoes of near-death experiences in Enoch's account. The light, the life review, the sense of moving through stages. Though written thousands of years ago, something in his vision still rings true to those who've glimpsed behind the veil. What sets Enoch apart from other ancient texts is his focus on cosmic justice. No one gets away with anything, no victim goes unheard. The universe itself keeps the books, counts every tear, notes every act of courage or cruelty. When he speaks of the great judgment day, Enoch paints a startling scene. Past, present, and future collapse. Every soul that ever lived stands together as the books are opened. No secrets remain. Truth shines like the noon sun, too bright to deny. Yet this isn't just about punishment. The final fate of souls involves transformation. The worthy become stars, bright beings in a new heaven. The cosmos itself is renewed. Death and pain are no more. The long separation ends. For those who suffered unjustly in life, this vision brought deep comfort. Your pain wasn't meaningless. Your tears were counted. Justice comes, if not in this life, then beyond it. The universe bends toward fairness in the end. And for those living comfortable lives through others' misery, Enoch's words struck fear. The scales would balance, the hidden would be revealed. No wealth or power would shield them from truth's light. What awaits beyond that great day? Enoch glimpses it but can hardly find words. A world made new. Bodies restored but changed. No more hunger, no more fear. The wall between heaven and earth torn down at last. In these ancient pages, death loses its sting. Not because it isn't real, it's very real, but because it isn't final. The soul's journey continues. The story goes on, moving toward a chapter so beautiful it can barely be imagined. Ethical teachings and cosmic law. In the quiet spaces between grand visions, Enoch teaches us how to live. His ethics aren't just rules for proper behavior. They're keys to cosmic harmony. For Enoch, right action flows from right seeing. Once you glimpse how the universe truly works, you can't help but align with its deep patterns. Wisdom isn't just knowing what to do, it's understanding why it matters. Good and evil aren't just human ideas in Enoch's world. They're woven into the fabric of creation itself. The same laws that guide stars in their courses set the path for human hearts. As above, so below. Unlike dry legal codes, Enoch's ethics pulse with cosmic energy. Be truthful, not just because lies hurt others, but because truth is the very breath of creation. Show mercy, not just to be nice, but because mercy echoes the universe's deep design. Walk straight paths, Enoch urges. Simple words that cut to the heart. No twisting, no clever tricks, no shading of meaning. Just clean, clear living in the full light of day. His warnings against greed ring especially true. Those who pile up wealth while others starve break more than social rules. They crack the very order of being. The universe itself pushes back against such imbalance. Justice matters deeply in Enoch's teaching. Not blind justice or cold law, but living balance. When we right wrongs and lift up the lowly, we don't just improve society, we help heal the wounded cosmos. Enoch's ethics start with seeing clearly. Look at the works of God, he says. See how all things serve their purpose. From this clear seeing comes right action. We join the dance already swirling through creation. What sets his teaching apart is how it links daily choices to cosmic outcomes. That sharp word you spoke, it ripples outward, touching stars. The kindness you showed a stranger, it helps mend the broken world. For ancient readers living under cruel empires, this view brought hope. Tyrants might seem all-powerful today, but they fight against the universe's grain. Their fall isn't just wished for, it's written in the stars. Enoch doesn't just tell us to be good, he shows us a world where goodness makes sense, where virtue isn't just nice but necessary, aligned with reality's deepest currents. When he speaks of reward and punishment, it's not about bribes or threats, it's about natural outcomes. Live against the grain of the universe and splinters will find you. Flow with its true current, and even hard times can't sink you. His words on wealth cut deep. Woe to you who gain silver and gold by unjust means. You say we've grown rich and have wealth and have everything we want, but you have no good thing in you. In our age of growing gaps between rich and poor, these ancient words still burn. Enoch speaks often of eyes, eyes that see truly, eyes that watch us, eyes open to wonder. Keep your eyes on heaven, he urges, not just on the path at your feet. True ethics comes from wider seeing. For those crushed under life's weight, Enoch offers strange comfort. Your suffering isn't random. Your tears matter. The same God who counts stars counts the drops of your pain. Nothing is lost in the cosmic ledger. His words on power still challenge. Woe to you, powerful, who with might oppress the righteous. The day of your ruin comes. No tyrant lasts forever. No empire stands eternal. Power that hurts others carries the seeds of its own fall. At its heart, Enoch's ethics flow from relationship. Right living springs from right loving, of God, of neighbor, of the created world. We do well when we see truly how connected all things are. These teachings shaped countless lives down through time. Jews, Christians, Muslims all found wisdom in these ancient words about how to walk well through a complex world. Perhaps most striking is how Enoch links small choices to cosmic outcomes, that moment of truth or lie, kindness or cruelty. It's not just a personal matter. It's you either joining or fighting the universe's deep harmony. In our age of broken systems and global challenges, Enoch's vision offers a strange hope. Right action matters more than we know. Each just choice helps heal not just our societies, but reality itself. Enoch and the Essenes. In the dry hills by the Dead Sea, a community took root. The Essenes, seekers after truth who left city life behind. In their remote camps, Enoch's words found eager ears and open hearts. When shepherd boys stumbled upon ancient caves in 1947, they had no idea they'd change history. The Dead Sea Scrolls, oldest biblical texts ever found, revealed how deeply Enoch's visions shaped these desert dwellers. The Qumran community lived waiting for the end. They saw themselves as the final faithful few in a corrupt world. Their daily life centered on purity, prayer, and preparing for the last days, themes that echo all through Enoch's pages. Among the scrolls, pieces of Enoch turned up again and again, not just one or two copies, but many, proof that this banned book held honored place in their hidden libraries. What drew the Essenes to Enoch's words? Perhaps his stark division between light and dark paths matched their own black and white view. They too saw the world as a battlefield between good and evil forces. The community's famous War Scroll reads like Enoch's visions come to life. Angels and demons clash, the sons of light face the sons of darkness, and cosmic justice finally arrives. For the Essenes, these weren't distant myths but tomorrow's news. Their daily life followed patterns Enoch would approve. Dawn prayers timed to heavenly rhythms, shared meals as sacred acts, work and study as worship, the cosmos and the commune in perfect sync. Like Enoch, the Essenes kept careful track of time. Their calendar followed the sun, not the moon, a crucial difference from temple practice in Jerusalem. This solar focus links directly back to Enoch's astronomical book with its precise sun gates and star cycles. The Essenes saw themselves as the true priesthood. The Jerusalem temple had grown corrupt, they believed. True worship happened in their desert camp, where angels joined their prayers. This view mirrors Enoch's own mixed feelings about the temple system. Among the group's key beliefs, a coming judgment day, a messianic figure who would usher in a new age, and the idea that humans could join with angels in heavenly worship. Each echoes major themes from the Book of Enoch. What makes this connection so vital is timing. The Essenes flourished just before and during Jesus' time. Their Enoch-shaped worldview formed part of the rich soil from which early Christianity would grow. Did Jesus know Enoch's writings? We can't be sure. But he grew up in a world where these ideas flowed through many streams of Jewish thought. His words about the Son of Man, about judgment, about the age to come, all find echoes in Enoch's ancient visions. The Essenes weren't the only ones drawn to Enoch. Other Jewish groups of that time, the Pharisees, early mystics, apocalyptic preachers, all show signs of engagement with Enochian ideas. Though banned by some, the book's core insights spread like ripples from a stone dropped in still water. What the Qumran findings confirm is how fluid Jewish thought was during this crucial period. There was no single Judaism, but many Judaisms, each drawing from shared wells but emphasizing different streams. Enoch's book offered a deep drink to those thirsty for direct vision of heaven's mysteries. For modern readers, the Essene link matters deeply. It proves Enoch wasn't just some forgotten text. It shaped real communities, inspired real devotion, and helped frame how real people saw themselves in cosmic story. In their lonely desert camp, waiting for the end that never came as expected, the Essenes lived Enoch's vision. They aligned their daily rhythms with heaven's order. They kept faith while the world went its own way. They believed in a justice beyond what human eyes could see. When Romans destroyed their settlement around 70 CE, the community vanished, but they'd already hidden their precious scrolls in nearby caves, including their copies of Enoch, as if they knew future ages would need these ancient words, these glimpses beyond the veil. Without knowing it, they preserved crucial links in wisdom's chain. Their hidden scrolls would sleep beneath desert sand for 2,000 years, waiting for shepherd boys to stumble upon history's lost pages. In their disciplined lives and cosmic vision, the Essenes remind us how powerful Enoch's words were, not just inspiring reading, but a blueprint for radical community. Not just ancient myths, but urgent news from beyond the stars. Banned for a reason, church fathers versus Enoch. The story of how the Book of Enoch vanished from Christian worship feels almost like a mystery novel. A text once loved and quoted, now gone from sacred collections. But why? Let's journey back to those early church meetings where men in simple robes debated which writings would guide the faithful. These gatherings shaped what billions would one day read as God's word. The Book of Enoch walked a dangerous line. It spoke of angels who fell from heaven, taught forbidden knowledge, and bred with human women. These weren't small claims. They painted a picture of the divine realm that many found troubling. Origen, a brilliant thinker with wild curly hair and piercing eyes, worried about Enoch's unusual claims. He respected the book but questioned if it truly came from the ancient patriarch. His doubts spread like ripples in still water. Meanwhile, Tertullian, a fiery North African with a lawyer's mind, defended Enoch. He argued that Noah could have preserved it through the flood. How could we reject what speaks of Christ? He asked his fellow believers. But his voice would not win the day. As the 3rd century dawned, the cracks in Enoch's standing grew wider. Bishop Julius Africanus pointed out problems with its timeline. How could Enoch have written about events that happened after the flood? The questions piled up like autumn leaves. By the time of Augustine and Jerome, Enoch had fallen from favor. These towering church fathers sealed its fate. Jerome, the Bible translator with a scholar's frown, declared it apocryphal. With that single word, Enoch was pushed outside the circle of trust. What scared them most? Perhaps it was Enoch's vivid tales of fallen angels. This risked painting God as one who couldn't control his heavenly court. Or maybe it was the book's precise cosmic calendar, which some saw as dabbling in forbidden astrology. The Watcher's story troubled many leaders. It suggested angels could choose evil and breed with humans, ideas that blurred the line between heaven and earth in ways that felt dangerous. Better to keep such notions at arm's length. Enoch also spoke of a Messiah in terms that didn't always match emerging Christian doctrine. As church teachings about Jesus grew more defined, Enoch's Son of Man visions seemed too loose, too open to wrong readings. Then came another problem: Gnostic groups. These spiritual seekers loved hidden knowledge and secret books. When they embraced Enoch, it raised red flags. Church fathers feared its mystical visions might feed what they saw as dangerous thinking. Picture a council room in the early church. Oil lamps cast long shadows as men argue. This book speaks truly of angels, says one, but it contains things we cannot verify, counters another. What of its strange calendar, asks a third. The nods around the room seal Enoch's exclusion. By the time of the Council of Laodicea in 363 CE, the decision was clear. Enoch would not join the biblical canon. The official list of approved books would not include this ancient text that once inspired so many. In the Eastern Church, John of Damascus firmly placed Enoch among works to avoid. In the West, Pope Gelasius issued a decree in 495 CE listing books Christians should not read. Enoch stood among them, now officially banned. Only in a distant highland kingdom did Enoch survive. Ethiopia's church, isolated by mountains and deserts, kept the book among its holy writings. Like a rare flower growing in a hidden valley, Enoch bloomed there while withering elsewhere. What if the church fathers had been wrong? What if they'd thrown away divine truth? These questions haunted some believers through the ages. Hidden communities sometimes whispered Enoch's words, keeping its ideas alive like an underground stream. Jewish scholars had their own reasons for setting Enoch aside. As they worked to preserve their faith after the temple's destruction, they focused on core texts. Enoch, with its wild angels and cosmic journeys, felt too mystical, too strange for troubled times. We can't know if the church fathers truly read Enoch with open minds. Did they dismiss it too quickly? Were they right to worry about its strange claims? The answer depends on whether you see them as wise guardians or fearful gatekeepers. In the end, Enoch's banning tells us something important about how faiths grow. They must decide which voices to keep and which to silence. They build fences around their core beliefs to protect them from ideas that might twist or break them. When James Bruce brought Enoch back to Europe in 1773, he reopened questions long settled. The banned book returned like a ghost from the past, asking to be heard again. Its long silence had ended. Now modern readers would face the same choice as those ancient church fathers, to welcome Enoch's strange visions or to turn away. Enoch and the origins of angels and demons. Picture a world where angels walk among us. Not just any angels, but fallen ones who teach humans the arts of war, makeup, and magic. This isn't from a fantasy novel. It's from the Book of Enoch, the ancient text that shaped how we think about the beings between heaven and earth. Before Enoch, angels were mostly messengers. They came with news, then left. But in Enoch's pages, they gained rich, complex lives. They had names, ranks, and even the power to choose evil. This changed everything. Enoch gave us Semjaza, who led the rebel angels, Azazel, who taught men to forge weapons and women to paint their faces, Barakiel, who revealed the secrets of lightning. Each had a role, a power, a story. Through these tales, angels stopped being distant lights and became characters we could almost touch. The fallen ones, the Watchers, changed how we see temptation. They weren't tricked like Adam and Eve. They chose their path with open eyes, trading heaven for human touch. Their desire for women pulled them from the stars to the dust. This story speaks to something deep in us. the pull between duty and desire. When the Watchers bred with human women, they created the nephilim, giants who devoured everything until the earth cried out. These became the template for monsters in countless tales. Every giant in folklore, every creature too big for its world owes something to Enoch's vision. But what of demons? Enoch tells us they are the spirits of dead Nephilim, trapped between worlds. Not fallen angels, but their children's ghosts. This single idea planted seeds that would grow into beliefs that haunt us still. That demons seek bodies to possess, that they cause illness, that they whisper lies in willing ears. Look at how Enoch's angel hierarchy spread. 7 archangels stand before God's throne. Below them, ranks of cherubim, seraphim, ophanim. This cosmic order filtered into Jewish mysticism, then Christian art, then modern fantasy novels and films. When you see angels ranked in tiers in any story, you're seeing Enoch's shadow. The 4 mighty ones, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, step from Enoch's pages as divine warriors. Michael, the military leader, Gabriel, the messenger, Raphael, the healer, Uriel, the watcher of heavenly lights. Each bears a name ending in El, of God. Each serves a cosmic role that later faiths would embrace and expand. Islam took these angels into its own tradition. The Quran speaks of Jibril and Mikhail, Michael. The angel of death, the bearers of God's throne, all echo Enoch's heavenly host. Though Enoch himself was not canon in Islam, his angels flew freely into its sacred stories. In medieval times, angel fascination grew like wildflowers after rain. Elaborate systems ranked the heavenly beings, often drawing from Enoch's foundation. Pseudo-Dionysius created a 9-fold hierarchy that shaped Christian thinking for centuries. Artists painted clouds thick with winged creatures. All because an ancient text once named the stars. The Book of Enoch didn't just name angels, it showed their fall. And in that fall, it created a pattern for all later stories of pride before a crash. Satan's rebellion in Milton's Paradise Lost owes much to how Enoch described the Watcher's choice to leave heaven behind. Jewish mysticism drank deeply from Enoch's well. Kabbalists mapped a universe filled with divine beings, using Enoch as one of their guides through heavenly realms. The Zohar, that great flow of Jewish mystic thought, carries currents that began in Enoch's stream. When early Christian monks went to the desert to battle demons, they carried ideas born in Enoch's pages. The demons they fought, lustful, deceptive, hungry for bodies to inhabit, matched what Enoch had described centuries before. Every exorcism ritual, every prayer against evil spirits, echoes with his ancient words. Look at our modern myths. The fallen angel is everywhere. From comics to TV shows, from novels to video games, beautiful beings who chose darkness populate our stories. They seduce, they teach forbidden things, they long for what they lost. Each one carries a spark from Enoch's first fallen ones. Even UFO beliefs draw from this well. When people claim aliens bred with humans to create hybrid beings, they're telling the Watcher's story in new clothes. The ancient tale wears the garb of science fiction, but its bones remain the same. Guardian angels watching over children, demons testing saints, heavenly wars spilling onto earth, all these images that fill our art and prayers have roots in Enoch's rich soil. We speak his language of angels and demons without knowing it. What power this banned book held. Kept from official worship, it still shaped how billions would picture the unseen world. Like water flowing underground, Enoch's angels and demons seeped into religious thought everywhere they found an opening. And now, as modern readers rediscover this ancient text, its angels and demons fly again. They find new homes in novels, films, and games. They spark fresh questions about what lies beyond our sight. Though banned, though hidden, Enoch's vision of the worlds between worlds never really left us. It waited, like the stars, for night to fall so it could shine again. The Book of Enoch and modern myth. Ancient words often find new life in unexpected places. The Book of Enoch, once read by prophets and saints, now fuels internet forums and late-night radio shows. Its strange tales of fallen angels and cosmic secrets speak to our modern hunger for hidden truth. When James Bruce brought the first complete Enoch text to Europe in the 1700s, he couldn't have known how it would bloom in modern soil. Today, this ancient book feeds a garden of new beliefs, some beautiful, some wild, some dark as midnight. Listen to talk radio on a quiet night. You might hear callers speak of the Nephilim, those angel-human hybrids from Enoch's pages. In their modern telling, these beings weren't destroyed in Noah's flood. They live among us still, pulling strings from the shadows. Ancient text becomes modern conspiracy with just a few changed words. UFO researchers point to Enoch with knowing smiles. His heavenly journey, carried aloft by angels to see the cosmos, sounds to them like alien abduction. His detailed calendar and star knowledge, evidence of contact with advanced beings. When Enoch writes of fiery chariots and wheels of light, they hear the hum of spacecraft. Ancient astronaut theories bloom from Enoch's soil. The Watchers become cosmic visitors who shared technology too soon. Their punishment? A myth explaining why they left. The Nephilim giants? Proof of alien DNA. Even Enoch's disappearance, he was not, for God took him, reads to some as a permanent alien extraction. Online forums buzz with talk of Enochian magic. Though it bears little link to the actual text, this system claims to use angelic language from Enoch's heavenly travels. Created by John Dee in the 1500s, it draws seekers who believe Enoch brought back keys to cosmic power. New Age bookstores stock shelves with works on Enochian wisdom. Crystal healing, energy work, and astral travel guides cite the patriarch as their source. His seven heavens become chakras. His angelic tongues become mantras. The banned book finds new readers seeking not salvation but personal growth. Doomsday prophets love Enoch's apocalyptic visions. His detailed end-time scenario, with its fallen stars, cosmic fire, and final judgment, provides fuel for countless end-of-world predictions. Each new crisis becomes a sign that Enoch's clock is ticking toward midnight. YouTube channels with millions of views explore Enochian cosmology. They map his flat earth with dome above, his gates for sun and moon, his pillars of heaven. Some viewers don't see ancient myth. They see suppressed truth about our world's real shape, hidden by modern science. The Nephilim skull hunters travel to South America and the Middle East seeking giant bones. When museums display remains of people with elongated skulls, often the result of ancient binding practices, Enoch readers see proof of angel-human offspring. Photos spread across social media with breathless captions, "Nephilim found." Enoch's banned status feeds the flames. People love forbidden knowledge. They wonder, why would the church hide this book unless it contained dangerous truths? The very act of banning created a mystique that modern spiritual seekers find irresistible. White supremacist groups twist Enoch's tales for dark purpose. In their hands, the pure angelic line becomes a stand-in for racial purity. The Watcher's sin of mixing with humans becomes a warning against racial mixing. Ancient text becomes modern hate with terrible ease. But not all modern myth-making around Enoch is so troubling. Comic book artists and fantasy writers draw from his rich imagery to create worlds of wonder. His seven archangels, his cosmic journeys, his heavenly books, all find new life in stories that honor their source while creating something fresh. Video game designers craft digital heavens and hells using Enoch's blueprint. Players guide angels through levels inspired by his seven heavens. They battle demons born from his descriptions. The ancient vision becomes virtual reality, reaching young minds that would never read the text itself. Some modern Christians find in Enoch answers to biblical puzzles. Why does Jude quote him? What does Peter mean by spirits in prison? The banned book fills in the accepted word. Reading groups gather online, finding in Enoch's pages a key to unlock scriptural mysteries. Jewish mystics still draw from Enoch's well. In modern Kabbalah, his heavenly journey provides a map for spiritual ascent. His transformation into the angel Metatron offers hope for human transcendence. Ancient vision becomes modern practice with surprising ease. Even academic circles feel Enoch's pull. Scholars who once dismissed him now analyze his text for clues to ancient thought. His astronomical details help date ancient events. His apocalyptic visions show how end-time thinking evolved. The banned book becomes respected historical evidence. Climate activists sometimes cite Enoch's warnings. His vision of nature rebelling against human sin speaks to modern environmental fears. His angels weeping for a damaged earth echoes our own grief for melting ice and rising seas. Ancient worry becomes modern warning with striking clarity. In yoga studios and meditation retreats, guides sometimes borrow Enoch's sevenfold heaven as a visualization tool. Each level becomes a state of consciousness to explore. The ancient cosmic journey becomes a path for inner travel. This is how myths evolve. They shed old skins and grow new ones. They speak to each generation in its own language. Enoch's strange visions of fallen stars, cosmic secrets, and worlds beyond find fresh voice in our age of space exploration and quantum physics. What would the ancient writer think of how we use his words now? Would he recognize his visions in our alien tales and conspiracy theories? Perhaps he would simply nod, knowing that true myths never die. They only change their clothes to walk among us unnoticed. Enoch's long shadow, literature, film, and pop culture. Stories have power. They sink into our minds and shape how we see the world. The Book of Enoch, with its fallen angels, cosmic visions, and giant offspring, has cast shadows across our culture in ways both seen and unseen. Walk into any bookstore and you'll find shelves lined with tales of angels who chose love over heaven, romance novels where winged beings fall for humans, thrillers where ancient secrets change the course of history, horror stories with monstrous offspring born of unholy unions. Each owes a quiet debt to Enoch's banned pages. J.R.R. Tolkien knew the Book of Enoch well. His world of Middle-earth echoes with its themes. The Istari, wizards sent to guide Middle-earth, mirror Enoch's watching angels. The fall of Numenor recalls the Watcher's doom. The seeing stones that show distant visions echo Enoch's heavenly windows. Even Tolkien's creation myth in the Silmarillion, with its music of the angels, carries notes from Enoch's cosmic song. H.P. Lovecraft never claimed Enoch as a source, yet the links seem clear. His great old ones, beings too vast for human minds to grasp, share much with Enoch's watchers. Both sleep chained beneath the earth, waiting to rise again. Both passed forbidden knowledge to mankind. Both created monstrous offspring that walked the early world. In Lovecraft's cosmic horror, Enoch's ancient fears find new voice. Milton's Paradise Lost, that epic poem of heaven, hell, and the fall between, draws heavily from the Book of Enoch. Satan's journey through the cosmos mirrors Enoch's heavenly tour. The fallen angel's lust for human women echoes the Watcher's sin. Even the war in heaven unfolds much as Enoch described it, with rebel angels cast down by heavenly force. On screen, Enoch's shadows grow longer still. When you watch angels fall in love in City of Angels, or battle demons in Constantine, you're seeing Enochian themes played out with Hollywood flair. Films like Noah and Legion borrow directly from the book's vision of divine judgment and monstrous offspring. The hit TV show Supernatural wove Enochian lore throughout its 15 seasons. Angels with distinct names and ranks, a cosmic war spilling onto Earth, forbidden knowledge passed to humans, all these key plot points flow from Enoch's spring. The show even featured an actual Book of Enoch as a plot device that could open doors between worlds. Even Superman carries traces of the Enochian myth. A being from the sky who walks among humans with powers beyond mortal ken, he embodies the Watcher archetype in modern form. His struggle with his dual nature mirrors the angels caught between heaven and earth in Enoch's telling. Video games draw deeply from Enoch's well. The Diablo series features fallen angels and their demonic offspring battling for control of a world caught in the middle. Bayonetta fills the screen with angels and demons drawn straight from mystical texts, many tracing back to Enoch's descriptions. Players who have never heard of the ancient book act out its stories with controllers in hand. Comics and graphic novels perhaps show Enoch's influence most clearly. Neil Gaiman's Sandman series features fallen angels whose stories parallel the Watchers. Mike Mignola's Hellboy battles creatures born from unions of the divine and human. Countless illustrated tales of cosmic wars between heaven and hell trace their family trees back to Enoch's vision. In music, Enoch's themes resound through countless songs. Heavy metal bands like Black Sabbath wrote lyrics about the Watchers. Folk singers weave tales of angels who chose earth over sky. Even mainstream pop occasionally touches on the fall from grace that Enoch described so vividly. Modern fantasy series like His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman draw from Enochian cosmology. Multiple worlds connected by thin places, beings of light who rebel against divine authority, cosmic dust with strange powers. All these echo elements found in the banned book centuries ago. Children's fiction isn't immune to Enoch's pull. Many young adult novels feature half-angel protagonists discovering their powers. These nephilim heroes, though rarely named as such, fight in cosmic wars between good and evil, just as their ancient counterparts did in Enoch's telling. Role-playing games often use Enochian frameworks for their worlds. Dungeons & Dragons has planes of existence that mirror Enoch's seven heavens. World of Darkness games feature angels and demons whose hierarchies would be familiar to any Enoch scholar. Players embody these myths without knowing their source. Horror films about possession draw directly from Enoch's concept of disembodied spirits seeking human hosts. When a movie shows a demon trying to claim a body, it follows the path laid out in Enoch's description of the Nephilim's restless ghosts. But Enoch's influence runs beyond simple borrowing of plots and characters. The book shaped how we think about cosmic justice itself. Its vision of a universe where wrongdoers face judgment, not just in this life but beyond, has become bedrock in Western thought. Its message about hidden knowledge carries through our stories too. From Indiana Jones searching for the Ark to National Treasure's hunt for secret maps, our tales often turn on the idea that truth lies just below the surface, waiting for worthy eyes. This too comes from traditions like Enoch's, where heavenly secrets were shared with chosen seers. Perhaps most powerfully, Enoch gave us the concept of apocalypse as we know it, not just an ending, but a revelation of truth, a pulling back of the veil. Every dystopian novel, every end-of-world film, every story where hidden systems are finally exposed, all owe something to how Enoch framed his visions of final days. The banned book shaped even how we picture heaven and hell. The circles of punishment, the ranks of angels, the throne rooms of God. These images that fill our art and literature took form in texts like Enoch's before finding their way into wider culture. This is the true power of ancient myths. They don't die when religious authorities reject them. They just change form, flowing into new channels, feeding new fields. Enoch's visions of cosmic order and disorder, of beings caught between worlds, of secrets hidden and revealed, still shape the stories we tell around modern fires. What if Enoch had stayed? Let's play with time for a moment. Imagine a world where the Book of Enoch was never banned, a world where it sits between Genesis and Exodus in every Bible, a world where children learn about the Watchers alongside Noah and Moses. How would this world differ from our own? In this other world, the line between angels and humans blurs. Churches teach that heavenly beings once walked among us, took human wives, and shared divine secrets. The clear borders between heaven and earth, so firm in our world's main faiths, grow misty and thin. Sunday school lessons include the tale of 200 angels who gave up heaven for love. Preachers speak of Semjaza and Azazel alongside Gabriel and Michael. Children draw pictures of the Watchers teaching early humans to make swords and mirrors, to read the stars and cast spells. In university theology departments, scholars spend careers studying Enoch's detailed cosmology. His strange calendar, with its 364 days and portal gates for the sun, becomes as widely known as the Genesis creation story. His seven heavens appear on classroom walls where our world might show solar systems. This alternate world's art looks different too. Renaissance painters don't just show serene angels carrying messages. They paint the Watcher's fall, the giant's rampage, Enoch's journey through the crystal halls of heaven. Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel might show God commanding the archangels to chain the rebels beneath the earth. The cosmos itself looks different to people in this world. They grow up seeing stars as sentient beings who can sin and face judgment. They learn that natural disasters might come from angels bound beneath mountains, straining at their chains. The border between myth and science stays fluid longer. Religious movements take different turns. Early Christian Gnostics, who loved Enoch's mystic visions, might not have been pushed to the edges of the faith. Their focus on hidden knowledge and cosmic journeys might have become central rather than suspect. Christianity might have kept more of its mystical roots. Jewish mysticism would stand in a different light too. The Kabbalah, with its visions of divine realms that mirror Enoch's heavens, would not seem like a later addition to Jewish thought. Instead, it would appear as a natural outgrowth of texts always at Judaism's heart. The very notion of canon would shift. With Enoch included despite its strange claims, other texts might have found welcome too. The Gospel of Thomas, the Shepherd of Hermas, the Pistis Sophia, all might have remained in wider use. Sacred libraries would grow thicker with voices once silenced. Would faith be stronger in this world or weaker? On one hand, Enoch's vivid cosmic drama might have kept more people engaged with religious stories. On the other, his strange claims might have made the whole tradition seem less trustworthy to modern minds. Perhaps both would be true for different people. Angels would play larger roles in daily faith. If the watchers could fall through wrong choices, then the angels still serving in heaven might seem more like us, beings with free will who chose to stay true. Prayers might address them more directly, asking for wisdom from those who remained faithful when others fell. The idea of fallen angels teaching forbidden knowledge would change how cultures view learning itself. Would science face more resistance, seen as touching on secrets angels were punished for sharing? Or would it gain religious blessing as the completion of what the Watchers began? Different faiths might choose different paths. Our modern myths would grow from different soil. Without the need to rediscover and reinvent Enoch's banned ideas, would our vampire tales, alien abduction stories, and superhero sagas take different forms? The need to disguise ancient myths as new inventions might fade. Political movements would find different sacred supports. Enoch's clear vision of cosmic justice, where the powerful face divine punishment for harming the weak, might fuel movements for social change. His vision of final judgment, where kings and rulers are cast down, could inspire those fighting oppression. Environmental awareness might follow a different path too. Enoch describes the earth itself crying out to heaven because of human sin. This personification of nature as a being that suffers and speaks might have fostered deeper ecological thinking within faith traditions. The gap between religious and magical thinking might never have grown so wide. Enoch's angels teach astrology, herbcraft, and cosmic secrets. Had these remained part of sacred text, the split between faith and magic that shaped European history might have taken a gentler form. The very shape of human hope might look different. Enoch's detailed vision of resurrection and renewal of a world cleansed and remade offers specific comfort. His named angels watching over natural forces provide faces for cosmic powers. His seven heavens give the afterlife a map. All these make the unseen world feel closer, more real. Of course, we can't know how small changes ripple through time. Perhaps in this imagined world, someone would write an essay asking, what if Enoch had been banned? They might picture a world much like our own and marvel at how different things would be. The question matters because it reminds us how powerful choices about sacred texts can be. The decision to include or exclude a single book shaped how billions would picture the cosmos. It influenced art, literature, psychology, and politics in ways we're still tracing. In the end, though Enoch was banned, it never truly left. Like the Watchers themselves, it lived on at the edges of our world, whispering its secrets to those who would listen. Officially rejected, it still shaped how we dream, how we fear, how we picture the spaces between the stars. And now, as more people rediscover this strange banned book, its journey continues. Once again, readers walk with Enoch through crystal halls of heaven. Once again, they hear the earth cry out against human sin. Once again, they witness angels fall for love and face divine justice. The Book of Enoch reminds us that no truth dies just because authorities reject it. It only waits, like a seed in dry earth, for the right season to grow again.